Talk Shoes. Recorded live.
Black Power, B48, Mount Ho Chop, welcome to Feet on the Ground Radio. It's your brother Born. Go come get it in tonight. We do the right thing for the family tonight. And we're going to get it in nice. You know what it is. It's Slaughterhouse Saturday. Feet on the Ground Radio. Praise, coming with the praises to the ancestors. Praise and that turn. Glory to God be. Long of the Spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. Praise Harriet Tubman. Glory to Ida B. Wells. Long of the Spirit of Sister Fannie Luhama. Black Power. What's going on out there tonight? We're going to have a nice show tonight. We're going to get it in on, we're going to be dealing with South Africa. We're dealing with the Zulus. The wars that the Zulus is fighting against the Anglos down there, against the Dutch, the Boyers. We're going to get into the Calvinists, Low Cecil Rhodes, and just a basic overview of the political landscape in South Africa, how it got to be to what it is right now, and how some of the happenings of that 19th century, 20th century helped shape that late 19th century, early 20th century, how a lot of that helped shape the functional world that we live in right now. So yeah, family, that's what it's going to be tonight. You know, we're going to have us a nice little show. So just give me one moment. Let me get my chat room open. And then we can move on from there. 1 second, see who I got out there. Okay. All right, as I said, get it in nice tonight. Do it right for the family. We're going to make sure I get everything open. Hold on one moment. Get all this stuff in. As a matter of fact, what I am going to do, I'm going to hit us off with the RBG National Anthem. Give me one moment.
What made me do it, I think I was probably at a Christmas game, and I was amazed by the number of us to their flag. And we all know that flag has never represented us or our freedom. So at this time, just like the pastor would ask you to do, I'm going to ask you all to stand. Put your flag tower fist in the air. If any of you want the lyrics to this song or want the song, I do have a CD back there. If you want the song in particular, I will give it to you. Because as the brother said, this is something that we should have at our event to open up each event. Like how I said? Black, oh!
Slaughterhouse family. And so we're going to get it in nice tonight. You know what it is. It's Slaughterhouse Saturday. You got my co-host out there. We're looking for my co-host out there in the crowd. Y'all hear me out there. Like I said, I don't have my chat room open yet. I'll be able to see right in there. See what's going on. Sign into this thing. This thing open for y'all. All right. What I'm gonna do is the first thing one of the things I'm gonna do though is I'm gonna just throw in some dates, some history and all of that. So now I'm in there on one thing. And we see. One moment. So let me tighten this on up. Tighten this on up, family. But yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on out here in the community. So, you make sure that you stay with your head up, stay aware, stay ahead of what's going on. We are looking forward. And as I said, we touching them Zulu tonight. All right. I'm going to do this now. We get in one way, we get in another. Come on, me family, I'm just really trying to get this stuff all logged in together properly, man. I apologize for the hold up and for the delay in the show. And get all this information in correct. Time to take a couple minutes to get it all popping. All right. All right, family, I got y'all out there now. Excuse me, but I'm ready. We rocking and rolling now. I got everything set correct. Got everything set up right. Now I'm ready to move. Get back into my chat room real quick. Now we ready to move on with the show. See here. Reload this back up. Reload that. All right. I'm in here correct right now. Let me see. I don't know who the South Texas is right now. Well, leave their line open for the moment. Leave South Texas open. I'm going to start hitting on some of this information. Like I said, we're going to be dealing with the Zulus, some of the some of the warrior information. One of the things that anytime you're talking about the Zulus, though, one of the main names that you're going to hear of is the name of the mighty warrior, Shaka. You're going to hear that name. And the name Shaka means something about beetle. And so, Brother Shaka was the one who with his restructuring of the military tactics in the army of the Zulus, he gave the Zulus the fighting chance that a lot of Native African armies didn't have against the European when they came in on their mission of colonizing the entire continent. Shaka was a warrior, skilled warrior, and as I stated, he changed what military tactics were about. And with his changing of military tactics, it as I said, gave the Zulus an upper hand on the Europeans who came in for two reasons. One, they were tactically more sound, but secondly, Shaka put in them he reestablished a warrior type of spirit inside of them that was the spirit alone was enough to defeat the Caucasian who had come in at that time. And so, Shaka was born approximately 1787. The date of his passing on was September 1828. The actual title that he was given as a youth was Shaka Kasin Zing Gakona. He was born in what we would call right now, he was born in KwaZulu Natal Province. He was what one would consider, he was like the outcast child, you know what I mean, when he came up. But he was, and due to that, he was moved from out of the home village that he was in, placed into another village where he grew up under the wing of a general in the army, and up under this general, he became a very skillful warrior. The chieftain who he was up under was Big and Swayo, and he was a chieftain and another smaller Zulu territory. And as I said, up under him, he grew to great heights as a warrior, changing the fighting style from a fighting style of a more ceremony type fighting style into a direct conflict attack type of fighting style. And because it was a point in time that the Zulus, that the Africans, their wars were more of, as we said, ceremonial type of wars with more of a showmanship type of quality to them, which did not lead to a lot of death nor destruction and the destroying of each other's lands and things of that nature, and the destroying of hundreds of lives. But with Shaka came in and changed that whole paradigm up, he changed the fighting style, changed the spears, changed the type of shields, changed the formations. He was an innovator of his time. And with this change, the changes that he did, he utilized them to capture other smaller, provinces. But with this, it grew the Zulu nation into a formidable foe for the Euros when they came in. And if he had not changed the culture of how they looked at military, they would have succumbed to the same things that their brothers were succumbing to in other parts of the continent. Let me see. Hold up. Black Power. So come here, let's show out there.
Black Power King, Black Power and the BB48 to the family.
Black Power BB48. What's going on? I see our brother Little out there. Black Power BB48.
Black Power family was rough.
Black Power.
It's Black-tastic over here on the east side. Just opening up a little bit, giving a little bit of general background. That's it on the brother Shaka Zulu.
Yeah. You setting the plate up. That's lovely. Perfect.
Let's see, some of the things that went on in the brother's life, and really the personal story of Shaka is something that I'm not really going to touch too much. I'm just going to really look more into his expansion of, how he expanded the Zulu power and his great ability, as I say, formulating and creating a nation.
Mm-hmm.
And as you will be able to, if you had a map, we could take a map and look at the lower half of what would be Africa, and which is labeled South Africa, and basically the Zulus ran the land that would be the southeastern tip of Africa. The most southeastern part of South Africa was the major stronghold of the Zulu lands, and which was like I said, which was a smaller empire comprised of hundreds of small tribes, but was redesigned to create a massive, powerful army that was the signature of just African warriorhood, and I say it was the signature of African warriorhood because we have to look at their technologically how technologically advanced the European was in his weaponry, which should have made him, which weaponry-wise made him superior, but it was the African prowess of militarized strategy which caused us to be able to win and hold them off up out of South Africa for a very long time. Very long time. Let's see here. Shaka also, one of the other things that he did to create a more warrior culture was Shaka implemented a program where the youth, as young as 6, 7 years old, will automatically place their side of military type of instruction, being trained as warriors. You know what I mean? At the early age of 6, 7, 8 years old, and what this did was it brought about a warrior culture, and we look at that because those are the ideal tactics that now in 2015 we have to look back and start to re-examine if they will be good for us, these type of tactics. That's the main reason that we're going over this Zulu machine. And as I said, we'll be dealing from the 19th century, really about mid-19th century, even though our brother Shaka was late 18th century. He was born 1787, and he was assassinated 1828. He was assassinated. And he was assassinated by his half-brother in a fight for power. I'm going to go to this, matter of fact, though, but I did want to read something to you. I didn't want to just freestyle something. I'm going to read this real quick. And it's just a little piece where he spoke on Shaka, his revolutionary warfare style. Combined with Shaka's buffalo horn attack formation for surrounding and annihilating enemy forces, the Zulu combination of the Kikwa and shield, similar to the Roman legionnaires' use of gladiators and scrotum, was devastating. By the time of Shaka's assassination, they say assassination too, in 1828, they had made the Zulu kingdom the greatest power in southern Africa and a force to be reckoned with, even against Britain's modern army in 1879. Much controversy still surrounds the character, methods, and activities of the Zulu king. From a military standpoint, historian John Keegan notes that there are exaggerations and myths that surround Shaka, but nevertheless maintains that the fanciful commentator scores him Shaka, the Black Napoleon, and allowing for different societies and customs, the comparison is appropriate. Shaka is without doubt the greatest commander to come out of Africa. And then, you know, this was said about the brother because of, you know, as we said, because of his ability to fight off the British, and not only fight off the British during his own time where, you know, he had his own skirmishes, but to have a legacy that when the attack came on in full onslaught again, 50 years after his demise, those tactics were still great enough to hold the crackers off again. So I just like
to add, Brother B, he introduced the modern day conditioning that you see soldiers go through.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Shaka introduced that and took off the sandal, rolled barefooted in a hot ass sun on a 50-mile motherfucking run. 50 miles. Them niggas used to run fast as a horse.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So the tactics that you see now, military's using the Green Beret and all that, show them hardcore units. That's Shaka shit.
That's right.
Those two are Shaka's tactics. Black power.
Black power. And as you said, they just that the basics of what you're saying though is very true when you're dealing with modern military tactics, being conditioning and the mind state. Because that was one of the things that Shaka changed with inside of the military was the mind state of the men. And as we were speaking, because war in that area at that point in time was not dealing with a war that was a bloody, vicious, violent war where, you know, a lot of people were murdered. But what he changed the mind state of that this is the way that wars have to be won. And as I said, if he had not changed that mind state of the people, change the conditioning of the Africans who was around them and changed, they would not have been ready to deal with the European and his war machine and military tactics.
And this to go with that, just cherry on top. When he first took the throne, he had 2,000. 2,000. Nigga, when he was done, he had 20,000. Okay, up to 20,000. Right? Like you got, man. You ain't talking about no bitch ass soldiers. You talking about full time duty, hardcore motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Now that's some general shit. That's worthy to be praised.
No,
obviously, the rest of the Zulus felt that shit go from 2,000 to 25.
Because it was the basic system that we have now. Get down and lay down.
Yeah, Shaka was about that life. He was the enforcer of that. You know what I mean? Because he could do it too. So he gonna expect you to do it.
Exactly.
No excuses.
That was the very day he developed it though, because he had put himself through the strains of training in that mannerism. So once he had put himself through it, that's the way a good general was able to pass those lessons on. Or those lessons that he had learned personally, his own self, that would make him a better warrior.
That's the best way to teach, though, right? That's the best way to teach is to show do it.
Yeah, show and proof through experience. Black Power, what's going on tonight out there, Sue, and how are you tonight?
Shay, Black Power to the Sue Tub.
I'm just listening. Black Power.
Black Power. I said, I just want to throw a little overview on, and then, the family can take off in it, and I'll hit off a couple of different definitions and stuff like that, things that are going on during the time, make sure that we're at the back end with a couple of good dates. Yeah, if I can get my shit up.
Well, family, I got my information on Shaka tonight. Thanks to Brother Little, watching Dr. Clark. I had watched the series up to episode 8, and another 2-hour joint. But Dr. Clark was so real that I had to, document the information he was hitting me with. And one of the things that he brought up are like his mother, Nida, was seeking a friend, seeking the friendship of the son of the King Jobei. His son was called Dignis Wayo, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, which means the wanderer. And him and his father, King Jobei, who comes from the mother's tribe, who was large, and the Zulu came under the Mtwa tribe, got into an argument with his father, so he wandered to the coast. And, he was living amongst the whites that was there at the time, and he noticed that the whites were, when they were fighting amongst themselves, they would run into a straight line, which caused them to get quicker. So he comes back to Zululand and shares this information with Shaka, and him and Shaka revolutionized Zulu warfare and introduced the concept in warfare that is still existent. It still exists today, known as the broken running field, which means, you're running zigzag when somebody's shooting at you or trying to get at you to reduce the odds of being hit.
I say, like that.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fascinating. According to Dr. Clark, the Zulus did not start in South Africa or Southern Africa. He says that the Zulu once lived on the coast, the eastern coast of Africa before they were called Zulu. They were known as the Ngunu. And the Ngunu is a group that is still inside of the Zulus to this day. And this group, he brought up the Arab writer who I can't think of right now that wrote the book, The Golden Meadows. And he said, that was due to the Islamic slave trade that was occurring, and it caused them to move inland, and they moved to the Congo Basin. And when they came to the Congo Basin, they had a family member that was Africans that was there, the Bashongo and the Kuba people, who they got along with beautifully. At the end of the day, everybody know they're African, and that space got too crowded, so that caused them to move to the open landmass further to the south. And the group added the AMA to their as a prefix to their name. You know what I'm saying? So they became the AMA Zulu. And that the other group, still a part of the Zulu nation per se, because again we all one family, added the Ba to their name, and you got the Barlongos for an example, and he also, that part is fascinating. He mentioned that we need to definitely get into the inner African migration that we have, but one of the other things that was dope is that, in the movie they make it seem like Shaka, troop or the African warriors only, they had one regiment, but he said that's not true. The Zulus fought in a 3-regiment formation: white shield, brown shield, and black shield. The white shield being the trainees, whose job was to, hit the enemy and get the hell out the way, let them know the war is popping. The brown shield was to come in and finish it if they could, and then if they couldn't, the black shield, which was the Zulu elite guard, once they entered the battle, it was on a pop, and they had to win or die. And they were specially trained. They had special beer brew made for them, and also special women were trained to marry them. They were the only branch of the Zulu war group permitted to marry.
And we all know the reason for that, because you want to make sure you're building the strongest out there.
I think that's a beautiful thing that needs to be incorporated. Which we talked about, like only the real warriors should be able to impregnate a sister, plain and simple.
And
another thing, King, he brought up, which I heard from boxers, is that days before the war or battle, Shaka isolated the men from the women. He said that warfare is passion, the dispensing of passion, and so is sex. If you dispense that passion in the bedroom, then you wouldn't have it for the battlefield. And that's something that go on today, as we know with boxers, for example. Black Power.
Black Power.
The queen got eyes, boy.
No. And hit this wrong tool. You see the and you said 20,000 from brother Little. From what I was seeing, it was like shit. He had close to almost 50,000 warriors that he could call up at one time. And the fact I got an e-book. I got an e-book. It'll show the brain. I don't know if I'm quoting the right name on my e-book. It said that, Shaka could pull up that the nation had grew So, 200,000. You know what I mean? Let me pull my ebook. And about 50,000 warriors they can pull up ASAP. You know what I'm saying? At ASAP. As soon as he made the call, it was on and popping. You know what I mean? So that was that's something that, even if it was 20,000, but to have that at that point in time during that date and time, right, without the use of a lot of no papers, he's not writing nothing down because he wasn't writing stuff down. Shaka had the system so thorough that, listen, man, when I give you a message, you deliver the message correct, man, or you're going to die. That's the bottom line. There's no other. We're not going to deal with this no other way. You either correctly give the message that I gave you to give, or you're going to give your life. And this is how he passed on orders and they passed on information to each other, and to be able to just use word of mouth, mouth to ear to keep that many subjects in line, that right there is another feat of greatness to be marveled at this day and time.
Yep. That shows great power. That's equivalent to that scene on the Malcolm X movie when Malcolm was in front of the police station and moved his hand. I said that's too much power for one nigga to have.
Mm-hmm.
Ashay, according to Dr. Clark's lecture, this is about at the 50-26 mark, he says that Shaka never fought the whites. Shaka fought other blacks in order to bring them into a Zulu federation to save Southern Africa from European domination. And that's important because that movie tries to make it seem like he's a monster, the same way they did Idi Amin, like, oh, he's just warring with his people for no reason, he's a bloodthirsty killer. No, he was bringing unification about because he knew what was at the shore awaiting our people, and he knew this from that son, from the king's son, Joe Bey, who peeped them out and came back with the information on how they was getting down.
Yeah, didn't Dr. Clark say he had told them that too when they assassinated him?
Oh, he go in when the brothers assassinated him. He said, when they entered the tent, let me back it up a little bit. That it came about because Shaka, our mother, Nida had died, and he had put all of these creeds out, and one of the creeds that was a turning point was when he said that there could be no cohabitation for a year. And so even though this was a patriarchal society, the old ladies took over and said that Shaka was crazy, that he had forbidden life itself. We will not survive as a Zulu nation unless we bring forth life into the world. And so the old women of the council ordered his ceremonial death, not his assassination, but as a ceremonial death for the good of the Zulus. They said he is royalty. Only royal hands will touch him. They chose his two half-brothers to do the job. When they entered the tent, he would say, you think by killing me you will be king. You will be the bondsman and the slave. Whites are waiting like ants to take over this country. In the second cry, when they hit him, tapped him up again, he reminded them that you have called me many things, saint, tyrant, God, and devil. To some extent, I am all of these things, but I am something else you need to remember. I am the greatest hope you have from freedom from the European rule of this country. And with the last blow, according to Dr. Clark, he looked at them with pity and said, "Oh, what have I done to you, sons of my fathers?" And, the Zulus appointed the assassin, his half-brother, Dingong, to take over.
See, he was a prophet. See, Chaco's very intelligent, man. Highly, highly, highly intelligent. I like how, how the movie showed, how he be smacking them up with their own words in the Bible and shit. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Shaka deal with all this shit we dealing with right now. They was snatching niggas left and right when he was alive. You feel me? So he was fully aware of what was happening. You know what I mean?
Like I was saying, he was aware of the fact that without the unity, that we would be able to see no victory against the enemy that was outside of us. We can deal with each other. We could deal with each other as enemies because we only going to take it to a certain point. But now we're dealing with an enemy who's going to take it beyond where we ever took it before. So now I got to take y'all to that point to let y'all see that this is what it is, and build and forge a unity instead of just building a bond. We got to forge a unity through this blood, sweat, and tears that we're going to have to go through. And even after his death, though, what he brought forward, even with his half brothers and them becoming the king, and then all the way up into when the war in 1879 popped off, they still were militarily sound off of his teaching, but without his heart. Sometimes you need the words said by a certain person in order for them to resonate in you the right way. And so he had that conviction. The same type of thing that we hear, when you hear the general Baba Khalid Abdul Muhammad. When you hear him, there's a certain resonation. You know what I'm saying? That goes through just his character alone. You know what I mean? It brings you to a point of greatness. So that was what was missing with the death of Shaka. It seemed to me anyway.
I'll say. But the main opponent will be the Dutch motherfuckers. See me? That's the Dutchy on the left hand side, the Boers, the Trekkers.
The Boers who came in and just tried to just set up and try to land. Because
they still there to this very day. They bring it to the beers with the beers hired out Cecil Rhodes, and then
Cecil Rhodes, yeah. All right, you come back on that.
With the fall of Shaka, that ushered in all that shit. You see what I'm saying? Ushered in all that. Nobody was strong enough and intelligent enough to fuck with this cracker. Like the Queen was talking about earlier, they words. What you talking about, Queen? Oh, you breaking it down? Old frivolly rereads. Fucking tricking you with words and shit, man. They wordplay, man, and you know what I mean? And shit. They forked tongue.
And when we say Boers, I'm going to go ahead and put this in. I got the Encyclopedia Britannica already rocked up to it so people know who the Boers is. The Boers, the Dutch husbandman or farmer, a Southern African of Dutch, German, or Huguenot descent, especially one of the early settlers of the Transvaal and Orange Free State. Today, descendants of the Boers are commonly referred to as Afrikaners. Hold on one second, family, because I got to see what this says. 1 second. I got to see what it.
So that's why I don't like that Black African power shit. You're giving credence to these motherfuckers.
Like it's a different African, like it's a white African also.
Or fucking Arab.
Yep. And the Huguenots are any of the. I just want to put this in for people who might not know what the Huguenots was, and I had to go to make sure to be sure. But the Huguenots are any of the Protestants in France in the 16th and 17th century.
Okay.
So they French Protestants. The Huguenots are French Protestants.
Okay, them the Frenchies, all right, and the Boers are the Calvinists.
Not the Boers. Now the Boers are a whole a conglomerate. That's what they're saying. Is a southern. The Boers are Southern Africans who are Dutch, German, or Huguenot descent. So they all group together.
Okay. They all so they all peck the same peck of wood.
Mm-hmm. Especially one of the early settlers of the Transvaal and Orange Free in the Orange Free State.
Oh, all right, okay, yep.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the Orange Free State. They have that's in South Africa.
Right.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna open it up. Let me look at it. All right, it's a province of the Union of South Africa. It became a province of the Union of South Africa in 1910. So this is just giving a general overview, but they was already there.
Yeah, they was already there.
Yeah, they was already there. It didn't become a province of the Union until that date. So they already existed. Yeah.
But they was colonialists there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Under the guise of trade. See, those are the first jewelers that Dr. Clark was talking about, if y'all remember that lecture. You see what I'm saying? See, just the jump-off point right here. This is how the shit got brought to life. Got Frankenstein. Feel?
Mm-hmm. Now, let me go. In 1652, we're back to the Boers. Today, descendants of the Boers are commonly known as Afrikaners. In 1652, the Dutch East India Company charged John van Riebeek with establishing a shipping station on the Cape of Good Hope. Immigration was encouraged for many years, and in 1707, the European population of Cape Colony stood at 1,779 individuals. For the most part, modern Afrikaners have descended from this group. The Dutch colony prospered to the extent that the Cape Town market for agricultural produce became glutted with the market stagnation and with slaves providing most of the manual labor in the colony. There were few economic opportunities for the burgeoning white population. Eventually, more than half of these people turned to the self-sufficient life of the Trek Boeren, literally wandering farmers, but perhaps better translated as dispersed ranchers. The Boers were hostile towards indigenous African peoples with whom they fought frequent range wars and towards the government of the Cape, which is attempting to control Boer movements and commerce. They overtly compared their way of life to that of Hebrew patriarchs of the Bible, developing independent patriarchal communities based upon a mobile pastoralist economy. Staunch Calvinists, they saw themselves as the children of God in the wilderness, but Christian elect divinely ordained to rule the land and the backward natives therein. By the end of the 18th century, the cultural links between the Boers and their urban counterparts were diminishing, although both groups continued to speak Afrikaans, and they spelled that Afrikaans, a language that had evolved from the admixture of Dutch, indigenous African, and other languages. The Cape Colony became a British possession in 1806 as a result of the Napoleonic Wars. Though at first accepting of the new colonial administration, the Boers soon grew disgruntled with the liberal policies of the British, especially in regard to the frontier and freeing of slaves between 1835 and 1843. About 12,000 Boers left the Cape in the Great Trent, heading for the relatively rural spaces of the High Veld and southern Natal. In 1852, the British government agreed to recognize the independence of the settlers in the Transvaal, now known as the South African Republic, and in 1854 of those of the Vaal Orange River areas, now known as the Orange Free State. These are later known as the Orange Free State. These new republics committed themselves to apartheid, a policy of strict segregation and discrimination. In 1867, the discovery of diamonds and gold in southern Africa set the stage for the Southern African War, 1899 to 1902. The conflict had its origins in British claims of suzerainty over the wealthy South African Republic and in British concern over the Boer refusal to grant civic rights to the so-called Uitlanders, immigrants largely British, to the Transvaal gold fields and diamond mines. Supported by the Orange Free State and some of the Cape Dutch, the South African Republic waged war against the British Empire for more than 2 years. Though brilliant practitioners of guerrilla warfare, the Boers eventually surrendered to British forces in 1902, thus ending the independent existence of the Boer Republic. All right, nothing else. Let's say this. Afrikaners in the 21st century made up about 60% of the white population of South Africa, approximately 2.6 million. And that right there is from this is from the Encyclopedia Britannica online.
See, that pussy, everything, it ain't that old, man. It ain't that long, man. You know what I mean? That's why their behavior is this way. I ain't never seen no shit like that. This is new. You know? What happened when you get something new? You play with it all the fucking time. As soon as you start getting old, you get other shit, you know, you don't be tripping off that shit no more, huh? See, that's why money drive the cracker crazy. Motherfucker ain't never had none. He ain't had no nothing. No nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, as soon as they seen that it was something big, like you said, they went straight to war.
Man, they go crazy, like they hit some catnip or some shit. You feel me? That's why they were snatching niggas left and right, right and left. God damn, come do this for me, nigga. Then all of a sudden they start getting castles and shit, and you know, windows, shoes.
All of a sudden the white man know about gator shoes.
You feel me? Now he on fashion.
But this was where the Calvinists came from. And one of the interesting things is like it's one of the things that they said in this article right here from the Encyclopedia Britannica is that they overtly compare their way of life to that of the Hebrew patriarchs of the Bible. Now, this is what I'll be saying about, you know, when we have our family say that, well, look, there were Africans who were on the coast of Africa who were practicing these religions before they came over. And I'm like, nah, it was crackers over there practicing that and whooping on us, and they'll catch you, and then if you was around them long enough, you was practicing that. Because their job was to be missionaries, to spread the goddamn word on you heathens like they supposed to, or just subject you to slavery. Or do both.
You know, say shit, it's all the above.
And our brothers, I'm gonna put in this thing. Because we talked about the Calvinism. Like I said, I got a couple of different key terms and definitions already pulled up. Well, we're gonna put this information in real quick about what Calvinism is and who it came from. Calvinism is the theology advanced by John Calvin, Protestant reformer in the 16th century. You know what? All right, in the 16th century, and its development by his followers. The term also refers to doctrines and practices derived from the works of Calvin and his followers that are characteristics of the Reformed churches. While Lutheranism was largely confined to parts of Germany and Scandinavia, Calvinism spread into England, Scotland, France, the Netherlands, English-speaking colonies of North America, and parts of Germany and Central Europe. This expansion began during Calvin's lifetime and was encouraged by him. Religious refugees poured into Geneva, especially from France during the 1550s. There's a larger sect on this, but I'm going to put this in real quick. The 5 points of Calvinism. And they go: 1, total depravity, original sin. And I don't want to read all of this shit because they put a bunch of this shit is. Matter of fact, go ahead.
What is a Calvinist?
Yeah,
go back to it. Well, what produced them? Go back. 16th century, Reform, Martin Luther. Keep going. Just focus on reform. What type of reform are they talking about?
Oh, there you go.
You said they postured themselves like Hebrew shepherds as being what? Pastoralists, right?
Mm-hmm.
What type of reform are we talking about? Looking over lesser breeds. That's a quick rundown. So they have the right to go anywhere on the planet and dominate the natives if they can justify that they are lesser breeds. This Calvinism 101. To give you a nice visualization, you remember when Ice Cube made that movie Dangerous Grounds? You remember Blood Diamond when Leonardo DiCaprio, he was an Afrikaner. When they called niggas kiffers, those are Afrikaners. I hate Afrikaners. You're talking about Dutch Afrikaners. How did they get to Africa? The Dutch East Indian Trade Company. They got to South Africa on accident. Trying to get to the New World. Don't know that it's a current that flow from West Africa that take you all the way to South Africa. But when you look at the coast of England, somebody pull up a map, look at the coast of England and Spain. There's a current that flows from the tip of South America and it brings warm water all the way up to England and the Neverland, and that's why it don't snow in England. It only snow in the highlands because they get that warm water. It reverses itself, it comes right back down. These crackers during the 16th century was trying to get to America during the New World and accidentally found the tip of South Africa.
Bro. And that's a excellent point that you made is that on Reformation is that their thought was and still is that their job is to change or control anything that they can find that they can deem under their doctrine as a lesser being. That's a very excellent point. The article, though, my Encyclopedia Britannica article is shutting me out. They're trying to make me.
When we talk about Calvinist Dutch, we're talking really about cousins of Leopold. Germans and Dutch have their unique relationships. Dutch, German, and Jews. Remember that. Dutch, German, and Jews. That's the connection. Dutch, Germans, and Jews. When you look at these wood shoe worm motherfuckers, when they did some of the worst practices of genocide because they come from that same stock Leopold came from. They punish Khoi for speaking, their language. That shit you hear them speaking now, it got a little clicks in it, but it's a new, I can't think of the name of it, you just said it earlier. It's mixed, and if you hear it, it has a strong, German overtone. You can hear the German connection. Niggas talk about linguists. You can hear the strong German connection in Portuguese as well. They all have a connection. Portuguese, Jews, Dutch, Germans. Dutch, German, Jews. Dutch, German, Jews. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Well,
go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying you could throw in the Belgians too, because that's Leopold people. They all right there together.
Yeah, Belgium's in Dutch, right? It's complicated. It's real touchy in terms of politics and geography when you determine it. Berlin. The Berlin Wall is in where? They got two of everything before they failed, didn't they?
Yeah.
According to what Professor William Mackey, this shows you the split between Ashkenazim and Sephardim Jews all the way to that period. He cited the Dutch as in Germany as being his president. His story got to show you a fact. He cited that as his fact. He said, "Can I prove it?" Yes. He said, "Look, you did." He said, "They never taught us in school the significance of the Berlin Wall falling." Imagine in America if it was so divided that we had two major Democratic parties and two major Republican parties, and we had two presidents and two vice presidents. Mm-hmm. That's the significance to how that shit was over there. They were so divided on that line there. Two parliaments, everything. Two everything.
Mm-hmm. Two mayors, two everything. You're right.
Two synagogues. This is where the shit really started off from, because they didn't want to worship one next to one another. The Dutch are the spawns of this because this is the waste matter of Europe. This is the excrement of Europe in terms of how the fuck they even got to the New World. Remember, most crackers that were going to the New World had nothing in the Old World. And they're Christians. So all they're doing is exercising the same oppression that they was experiencing in Europe, now in Africa being free, under the guise of being settlers.
Yeah, and I'm gonna put this in because when you asked about Calvinism, they got a little saying called tulip, right, that they use, which describes the 5 major points inside of Calvinism. And that was the first one I went to with total depravity, but I didn't want to use that saying because they just drug it out too far. But tulip, this usually stands for total depravity. This is often mistaken to mean that humans are all hopelessly, intensely sinful. Actually, it means something quite different. As a result of Adam and Eve's disobedience to God, the fallen man, sin has extended to all parts of every person's being, his thinking, his emotion, and his will. Sometimes this has been called total inability. This is the concept that it is impossible for the ordinary natural human to understand the gospel's message. They are spiritually hopeless, first, God must first decide to intervene in the form of the third personality within the Trinity, the Holy Spirit. Otherwise, the person is lost forever. Yeah. And they back that up by a couple of different verses. They use Romans 5:12, Mark 4:11. They back that shit up. I really don't want to read that shit unless the people. Why not? Romans 5:12. Wherefore, as by one man's sin entered into the world, and death by sin, and so death passed upon all men, for that all have sinned. Oh, yeah. This needs to be read. Mark 4:11. He said unto them, unto you it is given to know the mystery of the kingdom of God, but unto them that are without, all these things are done in parables. And basically, basically what they're saying is, look, man, you fucked up no matter what. You already hit, and so there's nothing that you can do because sin is already in the world and it's on everybody. So no matter what you think, no matter how you feel, no matter what you strive to do, sin already is sitting there waiting in line. So this puts you already in a situation to have to be reformed early. With you, this stands for unconditional election. This is the concept of predestination, that God has divided humanity into two groups. One group is the elected. It includes all those whom God has chosen to make knowledgeable about himself. The rest will remain ignorant of God and the gospel. They are damned and will spend eternity in hell without any hope of mercy or cessation of the extreme tortures. God made this election before the universe was created and thus before any humans existed. The ground of grounds that God uses to select the lucky few is unknown. What is known is that it is not through any good works on the part of the individual. It is not that he extends knowledge to some in order to find out who will accept salvation and who will not. This is the degree of tensions within the Bible concerning precise division of responsibility between God and humans on this matter. The Bible does not resolve this issue. Hyper-Calvinists believe that a person has...
Go back to that beginning part you read.
Right.
That's apartheid. That beginning part you read is apartheid. They had apartheid system in place before the word came in place because, like back we were just discussing previous, if the current state of, I'm trying to give you a context on what the fuck I'm talking about, to set you up for how Shaka came with the whole, what produced Shaka. The same dualism of governments that I was talking about. Imagine if America had two presidents, two Democratic, two candidates for each party that had solid office, like I gave earlier. You have two presidents instead of one. So you have four candidates in all, right? This dualism. This is what the mentality that went into Calvinists. Well, as soon as they came to South Africa, that's the first thing they set up: division. Boom. They put it in place before. Well, I'm not gonna go that far because it all seemed to correlate around the same little era. That's how I know them niggas was all talking around the same time that the Australians put the same shit about calling them they had to find titles for them first. Aborigines got the same tune about Australian. The Calvinists was calling the South Africans Catholics and giving them a certain title as well. This before crackers was doing this shit in America. You see what I'm saying? So go back to that part you read earlier when it said that God is going to be those who follow God, and that's those that's going to be ignorant. That part again?
Yeah. All right. This is the concept of predestination, that God has divided humanity into two groups. One group is the elected. It includes all of those whom God has chosen to make knowledgeable about himself. The rest will remain ignorant of God and the gospel. They are damned and will spend eternity in hell without any hope of mercy or cessation of the extreme tortures.
That's Calvinism. That's all you need to know. That's Calvinism. Everything else is giving you the rationale for why they can do this, and they're going to cite verses in the Bible, different sections of the Bible, and they're going to go into contentions, and they're going to give you examples. But that's the premise of Calvinism right there. Read it again, Brother Boy.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to it, but you got to hear the rest of this. You got to hear the rest of this tulip, because this is just amazing here.
That's a new political faction that's trying to combat Calvinism. That's really being supported by Calvinism. I know what you're reading from.
Yeah. So
we read it though. Read it. It's relevant.
I'm gonna
read it. Understand the context. If you understand the background. Go ahead.
This is the concept of predestination. That God has divided humanity into two groups. One group is the elected, and includes all those whom God has chosen to make knowledgeable about Himself. The rest will remain ignorant of God and the gospel. They are damned and will spend eternity in hell without any hope of mercy or cessation of extreme tortures. So, no matter what, look, man, God would have chose you already if you was to be chosen. So, as soon as He ain't chosen you already, you ain't been chosen to be chosen. Maybe you chose for hell.
Hey, man, you're already in hell, and I'm doing you a favor by offering you a cold glass of water, buddy.
Cold glass of vinegar.
So you should be taking this whip to the back with a smile, really. I'm actually going. Well, I'm taking a light on you, giving your destiny. Remember Thursday, the Korean. He put it out there that in order to make this shit a reality, they have to give you this idea of an eternal soul. And that you should seek out your true reward in that life. And abolish everything in this one. That's the rationale. Because what'd you say? That God divided humanity into two parties, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is coming out the psyche of. Go ahead. That's just crazy right there. That's Calvinism, though.
And the reason I want to read the rest of. Oh, go ahead, Sister Camille.
No, I was gonna say it also reminds me of the lie of the Jew, right? The chosen and the Gentile.
Mhm. No, I wanted to say, I wanted to read the rest because it sounds like the shit that they be saying from the ISU. Hey, it sounds like Hebrew Israelites. I just wanted to read it because this is the Hebrew Israelite stance.
Theme in the Bible. That's the whole theme of the Bible. That the chosen few, that God has a chosen few out of humanity that He gonna save. The Jehovah's Witnesses say that God only gonna save 144,000 of humanity. You know, this is the rhetoric of it. And then when you see those who put it in place, all they do is change the title to fit their political and social agenda. And most of the time, it's the most corrupt people doing it. So the program is so much the same that a Korean psychologist broke that shit down so eloquently on how they use it worldwide. It has to be, you know what I'm saying, he's a sadomasochist, masochist. You know, this is the division, like Sister Camille was speaking earlier, that the Zulu normally didn't reign in South Africa. These are true pastoralists, as are the Khoikhoi. When you look at their migration patterns, we talking about migration patterns from the south tip of Africa, going into Namibia, all the way sometimes into Uganda, and back to South Africa. These people, when you look at them linguistically, by the classifications, they group them all in one language group because they know, because of the traveling. But they distinctively have different language categories that needs to be recognized. Even Chancellor Williams put that in his book. He made in his diagnosis. He said in his preview, he says that, you know, he gives you the context. He spent 2 years in studying Africa. He said that when he went there, it was over 100. I want to get it right, but over 150 languages spoken. But it was a uniformitarian. The connection was women. If Cleopatra in her late days spoke 9 languages, imagine what the typical African woman spoke. The typical African woman now speaks over 4 different languages. The best linguists are women. This is something that's always been recognized, even Nigerians to this day. The marketplace has always been the center of women. Trade for women. So now we got what now we define what the Calvinist is. Now we know the Zulu. Now niggas can get to the contention that produced what we know as one of the greatest events in African history in terms of how to deal with the enemy. My opinion, shocking from what I studied, because ain't no one book on these motherfucking, as Dr. Clark states. Ain't no one book on Zulu. Ain't no be no one movie you can watch. You just had to read about 20 books to get a thorough understanding of what a Zulu was, what South Africa was, what the Calvinists was, what the history of that area was, and then how the politics produced itself. Ain't gonna be no one source for that. But in my opinion, Shaka Zulu, he made his assessment of seeing the collective politics of Europeans. When the English moved in, he seen, I mean, we talk English now. If a motherfucker came up talking that Dutch shit, those are two distinctive tongues. And he had different uniform. He seen that these motherfuckers had a collective idea that went beyond their language in terms of how to deal with an African and how they were. I think he took that and embodied that and used that as a form of consolidating all African tribes to deal with this cracker, because he knew that even though they functioned in different uniforms, they operated competitively, but in a uniformity area. You know what I'm saying? That's my assessment.
Shane, I've been talking for a second. Yeah, you want to come on there, Sister Camille? You want to add on?
Brother did a beautiful breakdown, you know, and at the end of the day, we all have to surmise that the religions of perversion played a crucial role in the justification of the genocide of our people and the colonization of our land. Dr. Clark said in this lecture that he was at a lecture at a college, and some sisters got mad at him because he brought the fact out that there was no teenage pregnancy in Africa, and that teenage pregnancy in Africa begins with the raping, the kidnapping of teenage girls by these cracker beasts in the slave forts, on the ship, on the plantation, you know, and they were offended, which shows their mental slavery, that he showed the direct connection of what these educated sisters are looking at our other sisters, younger sisters that are teenagers, as being unworthy because they are now impregnated at a teenage age. You know, as Brother Minkaraf said before, what do they do first? As the North Koreans broke down, they put that ideal out there. They put that lie out there. And we turn around and make it real. There was no such word for illegitimacy, an illegitimate child, in the history of our people, according to Dr. Clark.
Right. That's the first thing he cleared. That's the first thing he cleared up when he had that lecture on the movie right after it came out. You know, when the series really went into production, he came with that immediate overview because it wasn't historically accurate in how they persuade or how they conveyed the the contention of his illegitimate birth, like you said. It wasn't illegitimate about his birth or nothing like that. He goes into detail about that. You know what I mean? And really, it shows you if you look into it, Europeans classify Zulus as being patriarchal, meaning that the men run, and it's your father's side that you inherit your power, your wealth and all that from. And even so, when we get that interpretation, we think it's just like the Bible says, because the Bible is a patriarchal family structure, as is Islam, in terms of. So we think the rules of patriarch family structure is like the Bible. That is a lie, because in the Bible, the women don't have no say, and they don't even acknowledge a woman as being a saint or a prophet. And the ones who did, women saints who are there, are after the fact, they're not written in the story. You know what I'm saying? Mother Teresa, if you want to use that, motherfuckers use arguments, but that's not the point. That's not the point at all. They don't use women. If you study, even look at the fictional movie of Shaka Zulu, the movie, watch it closely. If it was strictly patriarchal like the Bible, there would have been no need to convene. The wives would have had no say-so in the matter. His sister wouldn't have had no say-so. Even she would have no place in terms of relevancy, because I don't even think the word is the word princess and queen even used in the Bible.
That's a good point.
Other than the Queen of Sheba. Of Sheba.
I know no princess.
Yeah. No princesses. Ain't no princesses. Ain't no princes.
Yeah.
But King, Shay, you saying that Dr. Clark had brought that up after manifesting how the film lied and tried to make it seem like Shaka was born of an illegitimate birth, when his mother and the king and his mother, who was a queen, who comes from a royal line that was had more precedence and prestige than Shaka's father's bloodline, according to Dr. Clark, they were married.
Exactly. And what you really got was an insight on how, what's the word? What's the cracker term that they use when you have more than one wife? What do they call that?
Polygamy.
We got an insight of how African polygamy really works. Even though Shaka Zulu, this all you need to know. Even though Shaka Zulu's daddy was king, it was the women who ran the political affairs, wasn't it? Because who would have a problem with the dates and the months in which the king's children will be born to inherit power? I'm gonna say that again. You didn't get a pimp type of background where it was Shaka Zulu like, bitch, you coming at me fair? No. These African women had enough power in this system to delegate and force the king to exile one wife. Huh?
Shay.
Even in the movie, they rarely show him in the matter, huh? Did he have any say so in that matter?
Not at all.
Then what's the reflection of that in terms of Zulu, this patriarch type of nature towards women? After his mother died, what type of treatment did she get?
Royal treatment, ceremony that hasn't been seen the likes of in Africa, according to Dr. John Henry Clark in modern times. Period.
Even the cows mourned. Huh? The elephants mourned. She was called the great elephant. He punished you if you didn't give honor to his mom. I believe Dr. Clark said he had to tend I'll only exaggerate. I'll give us a little, 7,000 man regiment. No, it was 2,000 guards. They guarded her grave for 2 years.
Dr. Clark said it was the Old Women Council that called for, him to be ceremonially removed when he gave the creed that they couldn't cohabitate for a year because of the death of his mother.
Now, here, listen to what Sister Clea just said. Even at the end of this African, that's something we need to look at. The end of this African king's career ended with the delegation of queens on the matter. It was the queens that said no. Well, that was a woman who said that, if I'm not mistaken. Only royal hands could touch you.
Ashe.
So the same woman that could bring that African man power is the same one in essence that can take him out. This the impact of the Zulu War that we need to analyze for 2015. That's still in effect to this day.
And it's something that Dr. John Harris Clark said about the movie, that when I watched it, and I started to rewatch it again, watch some of the clips, some of the pieces. But when I watched it as a youth, I really didn't notice the Muslim tone on it. But listening to him, speak on it, you could. You go back and start to look, and you can see that the context of how he was, how he had the women juxtaposed against each other and stuff like that. How he spoke on how just the mind state of the people looking at the movie, and the view of how women are and how they're supposed to be, according to an Islamic type of frame of mind. And I just never really saw it. So now I'm just going back into the movie because we watched it. I wanted to put that out there and see what the family thought about what he was saying on that.
Well, to me, he was dead on, especially when he mentioned them using Africans of a complexion that was not the complexion of a typical Zulu woman.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that fucked me up, that had me stuck on stupid, all right, was episode 7 where, he has the cracker bees putting the dye in his mama hair, and the symbolism of that. Because this is the same man as a young boy when his father grabbed his mother, which Dr. Clark also expounded on that was a horrific display of what their relationship was really like, as well as his relationship to Shaka Zulu, being there at his initiation to become a man, dressing him. You know what I'm saying? It was offensive. You just see them sowing the psychological implantation of hatred we're supposed to have for each other, and how the black woman is supposed to effeminize her man and look to the great cracker beast. That episode had me so fucked up that I needed to write notes about the shit. You know what I'm saying? It's horrific. And Dr. Clark is dead on. With that in relationship to the portrayal of the African woman and the relationship between the African man and the African woman.
Sure. Look how the program was formatted in terms of being episodes. They did the same thing with Roots to some extent in giving you episodes. It's a form of propaganda. Like, you know, they knew on one hand they knew Africa was so diverse. Like the most diverse scene they showed Africa for me was when they showed Shaka Zulu coming to the Twa to build his short spear. But then again, on the social issues, the European lack thereof knew anything of that. What people don't understand is men have fraternal orders that's going to exist even in so-called country or rural or savage societies, if you want to use them terms. Meaning, I don't care what society you're in, if we was to go right now to any society in Africa that's living in the bush, or Australia living in the bush, we will find that we will see a uniformity in fraternal rituals of manhood. What are we talking about? Hunting. It goes beyond just catching the food. If we have certain zoo types that exist in the ecology of the environment, for example, we're talking about Africa. We're going to see a high class that's going to exist of men. They're going to create a standard amongst themselves for participation. Nigga, you want to be part of this, you know, to be the head nigga of this crew here, you have to engage in a ceremonial warfare practice of a certain zoo type, a certain animal. You can't, it's the same thing. We even find it right now, for example, when a nigga gets initiated in the motorcycle club. He becomes a prospect. He has to do certain things and rituals, right? That has always existed in humanity. So for them to be delinquent on showing that shit with Shaka Zulu's father, they wanted to convey that image to you that Shaka Zulu was the product of a single-parent household and he had problems with his father, and that really overtones the time in which the film came out. And that's the same, you know, that's the problem that was, you know, when that series came out, that was some of the problems that exist present day. Single parent household. So they give you that overtone as if even in Africa that shit always existed. That's, you know what I mean?
I say, and especially when he is the greatest deserter of the mother. And Dr. Clark does a beautiful job of giving some figures and statistics to back that up. He mentions the 3 million Eurasians, half cracker beast Asian. A marriage between a white and a Eurasian is about approximately 10. Then he took her to South Africa. The white man with the African woman, the coloreds. Million of them, not one single marriage. So that's, again, horrific racist propaganda to denigrate the African man, the African warrior. And, you know, even, and also, again, as Dr. Amos Wilson shows, as he calls European historiography full of myth and lies, the lie of these Boers coming there and the British, you know, the ship crash, that type of bullshit. Not there to kidnap, rape, and pillage all that they can get. You know, when they teach, they have cartoons about pirates and shit, right? Movies. And they pretend as if this is a time period of that did not exist during Almayafa. That's not the source of it. What they call pirates. It's so horrific. You know, this is why we have to do our own writing of our own story and the studying of it, because it is really, you know, my hatred for the cracker beast has no bounds. The more you learn, the more you see how deceitful and wicked and foul and monstrous these things are. And I really mean that.
Black power. Well.
And Brother Mikara, I wish you was on the hangout the other day because when we talk about this, because that scene where they have Shaka signing over land to the Cracker Beats, and they're not supposed they're supposed to be savages. The only language that's viable is their shit that's written down on the paper, right? That's the imagery. That's how I caught it, and Shaka is able to sign his name, and they're like, ooh, wow, he's super intelligent.
Hold on, Sister Camille.
Yeah.
Hold on, Sister Camille. Is your hold on, Brother Little, you hear Sister Camille? Brother Mikara, I'm not bringing y'all out there. Is Sister Camille microphone sounding like it's going down to you?
Nah, yeah, it was dying out. It was dying out, guy.
All right, that's what I was just wanting to make sure that it sounded like that for more than just me. It wasn't just me. Sister Camille, I don't know what it is, but the microphone.
I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Black Power?
Black Power.
Oh, there you go, Black Power.
There you go. Your microphone will sound like it was dying a little bit. So we heard you say, I heard you say something to Brother Mikara, but what you were saying to him got lost.
Sorry about that, family.
Right.
That scene where they got Shaka Zulu signing over land to them, right? Because they're supposed to have been these gods who saved him when he was assassinated, or there was an attempt at assassination, a complete distortion of what went down too, as we already discussed earlier. But anyway, it made me think of the Planet of the Apes. It really did. That is how I felt that scene was so degrading, and that's what they was trying to convey. You got their language being portrayed as the only true language that's on that paper, and then Shaka and his second in command or witnesses who signed on, being illiterate because they don't know the Cracker Beast language. And then Shaka being able to sign his name, which they look at as, oh, it's amazing, fucking so racist and degrading.
I see something.
And it made me think of the Planet of the Apes and shit.
Frozen. Why would they give me this frozen? Huh? Why would they give me this frozen? Excuse me.
Hey, you out there? Your mic's on, baby.
Before the again, yet and my mic was open. Thought it was on mute.
Black Power, right, Roo?
Before the assist was good.
So, Rod King, I saw you with the General, Black Power.
I had a lovely day with the General.
King, you was looking warrior handsome, warrior strong.
I appreciate it. Just on duty, a soldier supposed to fall in suit when his general come, right?
Ashe.
I say. We held it down, though, hey, Ruth,
Yeah. Me and the brother held it down most definitely and enjoyed ourselves and had a good time. It was like having one big Black Power family reunion.
Banging on the piggies, you feel?
Yeah, letting 5-0 have it.
That's beautiful. Black power to you too, Brother Little.
Oh, hey, Ruth set it off. He said he was Dolo. I couldn't let that ride. You know what I mean?
King, that's what's right.
Like I say, Brother Mekara, you went for a treat tomorrow, man.
Nah, you ain't even supposed to tell him. You ain't even supposed to tell him.
Oh, my bad.
You feel me? Yeah, family. Don't. I was gonna leave that as a big surprise, man. You know what I mean? Hey, Ruth, put it in.
Okay, I didn't mean to destroy that for you, family. I didn't know.
It's all right. It's all good. But Queen, on that one thing you was talking about, yeah, I agree with your assessment of it. You know.
Crack is treacherous. There is no bounds to the limits. They will not go. Tell a lie, man. Fuck with your psyche. Well, what happened to Brother Minkarai, Brother Bourne? Where y'all at?
Oh, shit. Damn. I thought I was talking again. My mic was on mute. And I thought, brother, Black Power, Brother Hero, I thought I spoke to you. It even sounded like you spoke back. So I was just flowing with it. But, yeah, welcome, Brother Hero. Welcome back in. You know what I'm saying? So I know you're gonna give us some good details a little later on the meeting today. You know how things went down out there on the west side, the best side. But I wouldn't add on to
flow, so y'all was in flow, so don't let me come in and stop.
No, I was gonna add on to. No, I was gonna add on to what Sister Camille was saying, and about there to do anything, and that goes even to the point of, you know, one of the people that I've always been interested in was Cecil Rhodes. Once I heard that he had a scholarship, you know, I never knew what a Rhodes Scholar was. You know, what people used to talk about, like it was such a good thing. And so then I got to look and see who was Cecil Rhodes and why was being a Rhodes Scholar such a good thing. And you know, he was another player in South Africa during that late 19th century, early 20th century. You know, he died. He was born halfway through the 19th century, 1853, and he died in 1902. So, but with this time, he had a reign of terror on our African continent. Mr. Rhodes he has a notorious poster right now that he had created with him standing on Africa with one foot from the southernmost tip to the northernmost tip. You know, with the understanding that his way would conquer the whole of Africa.
And Brother B, let me tie in the South African War to what you just said. Because this motherfucker had built up so much guap, you know, the cousins, Britain got mad. Motherfucker, where my guap at? How you gonna get all the guap and I can't get none? You gonna eat all the cheddar and I can't get no cheddar? Motherfucking woe. Motherfucker, that's the only way the crack could go to woe, man. So, the South African woe. See what I'm saying? From 1899 to 1902. October 11th, 1899 to May 31, 1902, between Great Britain and two Boer Afrikaner republics, South African Republic and the Orange Free State. You see? Now, I'm going to talk about the Low Countries in a minute. And I'm going to tie in all this shit. How you know the Peckerwoods, the fucking Peckerwood is the Peckerwood. You know what I'm saying? But, you know what I mean? It was the largest and most costly war in which Britain engaged between the Napoleonic War and World War II, spending approximately $200 million. It was fought between wholly unequal protagonists. The total British military strength of South Africa reached nearly 500,000 men, whereas the Boers could muster no more than about 88,000. But the British were fighting in a hostile country over difficult terrain with long lines of communication, while the Boers, mainly on the defense, were able to use modern rifle to good effect at a time when attacking forces had no means of. So they was using guerrilla warfare, nonetheless. While Great Britain was just coming with that gas, you know what I mean? They were just blowing their ass away with cannons and all type of shit, basically. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So all that to be said was tied into, again, to what Mikarai was saying, how these motherfuckers had the Great Wall built upon them. Why would you have a Great Wall upon you? Motherfuckers be fighting. They had an 80-year war. Let's go into the 80-year war for these crackers. You know what I'm saying? All this is on Britannica, online. You know what I mean? The 80-year war real quick, right? All right. From this is the jump off before they set up their whole republic. This is why they fighting over each other. They can't get shit straight. You know what I'm saying? They can't get shit straight. So the 80-year war, all right, from 1568 to 1648. All right, the War of the Netherlands independence from who? Spain. The cracker is a cracker. It's a cracker. Okay. All right. Now, we can keep going and going and going. The shit gonna go forever. But just see the links right here, right? Netherlands independence from Spain. All right? That was the 80-year war. Come on now. Which led to a separation of the northern southern Netherlands and the formation of the United Provinces of the Netherlands, the Dutch Republic. The first phase of the war began with two unsuccessful invasion provinces by mercenary armies under Prince William the First of Orange. Well, we talking about the Orange Free State, Brother B. Oh, all right. 1568 through 1572. See, this is the jump off. This is how you got the Orange Free State. That's why it's called the Orange Free State. You dig? All right. And the foreign base raids by the Gizuen. Man, I hate cracking names. Zeuzen. Can't pronounce this shit. You know what I'm saying? I speak Ebonics, nigga, proudly. The irregular Dutch land and sea forces by the end of 1573 of the Gizuen had captured, converted to Calvinism, and secured against Spanish attack against provinces of Holland, which is Netherlands, and Zealand. You know what I'm saying? So let me go to the low countries, right? I just wanted to kick off the 80-year war and give y'all a pretext of what Mikarai was saying. These motherfuckers don't get along. Now that's Netherlands and Spain. So that was before the Netherlands called themselves the Netherlands. They had to get out of Spain's fucking toe. You know what I mean? They was under what you call foot on the neck. You know what I'm saying? So they had to weasel out of that, right? So the Low Countries. Let me get into the Low Countries for y'all. All this is on Britannica Encyclopedia once again now. So the Low Countries coastal region of northern Western Europe, right? Consisting of Belgium, Netherlands, and Luxembourg. All right? Luxembourg. The Low Countries are bordered by Germany to the east and France to the south. In 1947, the three nations formed the Benelux Custom Unions, which broadened over the years into what a 1960 treaty confirmed as the Benelux Economic Union to this very fucking day. All right? The Low Countries are so called because much of their land along the North Sea coast and for some distance inland is either below sea level or just slightly above it. More than a quarter of the total land area of the Netherlands is below sea level, for instance. Natural sun dunes and a system of man-made seawalls like dikes protect the polar artificial drained flat, artificially drained flat country below sea level from flooding. They ain't got shit over there. All right? Well, Prince Alexander Polder, north of Rotterdam. That's the only reason why I'm reading this, to get y'all to understand they ain't got shit over there. Nothing. All right? All this shit got to be artificial. Okay? The Prince Alexander Polder, north of Rotterdam, is the lowest point in the countries, in the lowest point in the Low Countries, and lies 22 feet below sea level. So I'm going to pause right there because I'm just pointing out, too, this is why they had to get ships, right? Motherfuckers flooding. They living in water, niggas. See, it's like waterland over there, water world, nigga. Feel me? Motherfuckers flipper and shit. The principal rivers of the Low Countries include Schlade, Massus or Maas, and branches of Lower Rhine. See, Rhine. An extensive network of shipping canals and waterways links to the major rivers. More than 3,000 square miles of fertile farmland have been reclaimed from the deltas of the other motherfucking rivers I just said. Why? Because the shit be flooding. So all that to let you know, that's why they had to have a strong navy, and then that's why you had to have the Vikings, huh? All right. You know what I'm saying? So all this is related because these are the motherfucking Gauls, the Franks, all them barbarian-ass Roman tribes. That's these motherfuckers right here. That's these motherfuckers. That's when they ran out of Rome now. They run out of Rome, and they start flooding and shit. You see what I'm saying? Anyway, but that's the Low Countries. And see, look, they conquered by the Romans in the 1st century. See? Because we keep reading on the shit, but I don't want to go too far. I'm trying to stay on the motherfucking timeline right here. But just pointing out that the cracker is a cracker is a cracker. They've been fighting each other for fucking God know how fucking long. You know what I mean? And that's why they had to start getting on ships and shit, because the way they was living is motherfucking flooding. All right. I'm going to just take a pause real quick right there. You know what I'm saying? Because I hate these fucking crackers, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't give a damn what you call them. The cracker is a fucking cracker, man. You know what I'm saying? Don't let them confuse y'all with the different names and the tribes they try to motherfucker throw at you. You know what I'm saying? That's just names. The cracker is the cracker. The motherfucker pale, he cracker with a straight nose. God damn it, what more proof you need? He had to throw, ain't he? It's called Netherlands, right? All right. I'm going to stop. Pause. Black power.
Black power.
Black power. And what's funny is we're dealing with the same people. Brother Little put, if you look in the Hangouts, he put a good link, and you can see that the Calvinist flag is the same as the Confederate flag, just different colors. So in essence, because they come from the same root, the same tree, they're just different branches of it. And we can see that, starting in Europe, starting with a Christian type of background on how how white folks should run politics on other people in the world. And another good assessment is the military strategies used by Shaka Zulu. For example, if Shaka Zulu would have been in America during the Civil War, they would have had problems stopping him. because he made the assessment of European stand-up inline warfare way back then and brought into being open ground running. You know, break them niggas' defenses, and the success that they had was breaking the European lines through open combat. We seen this same shit actually get reinvented, and this was successful for the Vietnamese during the Vietnam War. My dad used to tell me all kind of shit. The motherfuckers used to be they was underneath the ground. My dad would tell me shit like they knew. He said we had to start eating Vietnamese food. He said what you didn't like because they could smell our shit. So when we talking about the practicality of warfare, we have to put into context that individuals, if you're not from there, you're gonna stand out like a sore thumb. And the hardest thing to do in covert warfare is to blend into a nature that you don't have time to make the assessments to get on the shit. You're gonna be fucked. And if you're not from that, and the individuals know that and can exploit that, that's your ass. So when you look at the, knowing this, when you look at the movie on Shaka Zulu, remember, the British, out of all, remember, the British are only one of the colonialists who took over Africa. But one of their tactics are they are masters. The motherfuckers are cold politicians. And if you look at the movie Shaka Zulu, they bear witness to the testimony of their cleverness in politics by the dying of the hair and so forth. You don't take the facts of it. Look at what the British were willing to go through to get in favor of Shaka Zulu, and you can't. And when you do make that assessment, you can't tell me that they knew that nigga was the one in power. They knew, because you only cater to the nigga that's in power in such fashion. You see the point I'm making?
I see. That's the only way. Why would you cater to somebody who can't do nothing for you?
So they left out the Afrikaner interpreters who had to be born there in the society and able to learn that African language, because African languages, it's a trip. When you talk to anybody that's not American, you have to make the assessment that English must be an easy language to learn. And for individuals to learn other languages, they have the best time to get it with you is when you're a child. You know what I mean? So in that movie, they purposely left out, and you might find for a few of them, but they don't really put any light on it. In order to have a thorough Calvinist interpreter, that shows that they've been there. They didn't just pop up in South Africa. Feel me? When you look at Dr. Clark's overview, he tell you, read the journals of the sailors who first came over there, because them niggas had journals. Because as we was talking about on the other show, in this time in history, the life expectancy for the average cracker was 33, 35. So their whole culture was to create an adventure, to leave a legacy for your life. So they all carry journals. Dr. Clark got access to some of those journals. And he goes over those journals and say they had ill intentions from the beginning. They didn't have good intentions from the beginning. So this gives you the makeup of how, you know what I'm saying? So going back to the military warfare practicality that Shaka Zulu brought into being, he's seen that the Europeans lacked competency in the terrain. He's seen also that regardless if they had a collective body, and then his main priority was to collectively consolidate those African tribes.
Mm-hmm.
He did with some, but some of the most fierce African tribes who didn't consolidate with Shaka Zulu were the ones who had patriarchal systems in place. As Dr. Clark said, these individuals, one African tribe, I can't think of the name of it, but every morning the men prostrated in front of their mother's doorsteps and wouldn't get up until their mother gave them permission to. These were a peaceful African tribe But when they, you know, at this time when the Zulu war machine was at its full heights, in some cases, Zulu wasn't talking to some nations. He wasn't talking to them. He either get down or lay down. And before he went into, he didn't look at the type of the tribes he was dealing with, because he was kicking ass. But this particular African tribe, he should have did some research on, because even though they weren't the Zulu and they didn't have a patriarchal system, they had a divine love for their mothers that went beyond his movement and cause. And he gave them a pardon, if you would. You know what I'm saying? You know, because of the, you know. But later, if I'm not mistaken, they end up. We all had to get up in it because we all had to answer to the European problem. It was so prevalent. We got foreigners amongst us.
Brother Minkara from Dr. Clark lecture, the name I got of that African group or tribe was called the Swazi.
The Swazi. Now look how they've been demonized by Europeans. Swaziland. Look at the Afrikaner problem they got. Look at the political issues that went with Swaziland, bringing, you know, coming from the root of the Swazi people. So we got multiple different varieties of tribes throughout South Africa. And I learned this my first book on anthropology. The first ecology of a tribe they had to study was the Khoikhoi. And I still got this book called The Calypso Sisters. And it states basically that the Khoikhoi go back 10,000 years. They're the oldest ethnic group. You got some races who don't even exist 10,000 years ago. Well, we got a solid cultural. Whenever they give you the makeup of a pastoralist, no, not a pastoralist. What the one I'm looking for? Oh, damn! I'm supposed to know this shit. Living off the land, a hunter-gatherer, a true hunter. The only true hunter-gatherer that they can find right now is the Khoikhoi. They don't have to farm. Because their history, there's a good documentary on the South African brother who really came up with Hoodia. Hoodia, it looked like a cactus. And in America and out the Western world, it's used for diet control, make you lose weight and shit, right? But the Khoikhoi ate it during times of famine. You know, when they didn't have food, you can choose some Hoodia, and it would, you know, the ingredients in it would alleviate hunger and so forth. So it's interesting because it shows you the nature of the Afrikaner, because he's scrutinized among his own and some of his own because his mother, he's Khoikhoi, half Zulu, and Khoikhoi Bushman and Afrikaner. One of his great-grandfather was Afrikaner, of course, just like same in America. If you light-skinned nigga, one of your great-grandfathers was raped. But he is a witch doctor and is good at it, very good. He still do his walkabout. He still can find the herbs that his grandmother and grandfathers taught him. And in this documentary, the Afrikaners did the same shit that they did before the Civil Rights Movement. What they did was they allowed the integration of certain indigenous bodies. For example, the Khoikhoi. So what they did was, even though this is South African land owned by South Africans, these Afrikaners come in. And because they are bent on not leaving, we're not leaving. So they federally recognized some of the groups. And some of the groups didn't have to stay in society because one of the problems with Africa, they said that they didn't want to be bound by the rules of the city. So they told them, well, go back to the bush. But the bush been destroyed. So some of them were out there and they couldn't live off the knowledge that their ancestors taught them because a lot of the motherfucking foods and shit been destroyed. So some of them came back. So when you watch this documentary, I'm going to try to put it in the hangout. When you watch the documentary, he has an Indian English film crew with him. And the English film crew, they only got whiff of this shit because they heard Hootie that came out of South Africa, and they went and found out who was, they want to know who the Bushmen are, the Khoikhoi. So when they sitting down, they're in front of the federal parks. The Dutch Afrikaners have taken some of the wild indigenous lands of the Bush Khoikhoi and made them federal parks named after crackers with gates on them. I mean, federal patrol, you know, that border shit, right? So they check in and out when they want to go and take their walkabouts and shit, right? So when he's talking, he can speak. There's only one woman left in South Africa that can speak click-clack. You know, there's only one African woman elder left, and they're trying to do the same thing we're doing in America. We're bringing about self-educated schools, right? I studied South Africa because all niggas in America should study South Africa. If you're not black as night, and you got nappy hair, and you got high cheekbones, your ass probably came from South Africa. Because the British came over after Dutch. And the British were in the slave trade late. So not all niggas in America come from West Africa. Motherfuckers got that shit fucked up. Sarah Bartman came from South Africa. Do y'all know who Sarah Bartman is, right?
Mm-hmm.
What did the British do to her body?
Something put it on the museum.
Go look at the Khoikhoi South Africans. Light skin, high cheekbones, little waist, and they got the gluteus maximus.
They come out of South Africa. You know, you're saying that one of my cousins is Zulu. Like his, you know what I'm saying, his bloodline is Zulu. Matter of fact, he just sent me a picture of his great-great-grandfather. I'll pull that name up. But you're correct about that, about the South African presence right here in the wilderness of North America.
Now, Brother Little was very correct when the presence there, the apartheid system during the 60s, Nelson Mandela's Bushmen, the fight still. Go look at the Olympics in South Africa. Look at the South African flag. Look at how they've introduced a new term, Afrikaan, 2 A's. Or you got Afrikaner. Listen to the dialect that they speak. You hear a little, it's got a little, so this to prove just to come in point. Our language wasn't that savage because the language of South Africa is a mixture of Khoikhoi, that Dutch shit, and another language. You can hear it. And it sound weird as a mother. They be snorking having.
Yeah.
What
they
the
fuck? Dutch, German, and like you said, the Khoi language, and a couple different other native African languages.
You can only be able to do that, like, for example, Swahili. Swahili is an African language that's the product of foreigners coming into Africa. The Arabs spoke Swahili. Arab is a mixture of indigenous African languages and Arabic.
Mm-hmm.
But you see how practical and adapt. Now, you know goddamn well, can't no white woman, or let's use the motherfuckers who created shit. You know goddamn can't no Arab bitch come up with no language called Swahili, right? That was an African woman who spoke an African language whose rapist was an Arab. And even under the yoke of oppression under that Arab rapist, she was able to create a language called Swahili, so that that the Arab can talk to his baby, and the baby can still learn in the indigenous African language. Y'all see the point I'm making?
Sure.
Mm-hmm. However, it had to go.
If it was the other way around, the child will only learn Arabic.
Yeah, no, that was definitely an African woman How to create that. And also another thing that was strong then at that time was the African woman being the head of the market. And we know Swahili is also a trade language.
I say, brother boy.
I'd like to say that it's 12:15, and 2 white bitches have been murdered by their husbands or significant others in Russia. 14,000 of them die every year.
Black Power.
Black Power. But there was another. We delve into this. Let's see for roles.
Yeah, you right on that, brother. Donnie, put the bottle down. I am not putting the bottle down. I have not had enough vodka. Come here, bitch. I saw you.
A Zulu war member. This is another. You know, a lot of information a lot of information that's written is given from, Europeans a lot of times due to the fact that, for a large amount of time, the Zulus did not utilize the writing system, and most of their information was passed down early. They had oral tradition. That's why you got to listen to. That's why the documentaries are so good, because a lot of times you can hear the information coming directly from people who existed during the time. And saying that, I was watching one on the Zulus and the Boyers. And one of the things that the brother was stating was something that we mentioned earlier about exactly, he expressed exactly what a Calvinist was, and the fact that he said no matter what, they wouldn't treat us as humans. Like, we were just not human to them at all. They did not, at all treat us in any mannerism that of any type of compassion. All they wanted to do was slave us. And, and this is coming from the elder. He was born 1890. The clip goes from, the 1980s. So, we have people who are still living who told the child to tell the story of the things that happened to them as children, dealing with this European beast.
Right. You see, one thing we need to notice is that there's a connection with oppressors in history, of course. Now, this is important to know, too. When we look at the history of the Zulu Wars, these Afrikaners was bitches. They didn't have enough heart to really face us. Because look who started, look who's fighting us, the British.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
The British. See, the Jews have this thing, like most religious motherfuckers have. They want an enemy that they can win. They never really fight their own. So when some real, you know, they did more damage with us socially under politics with the British came in. You know what I mean? They was killing us, no doubt. But you really see them getting power through, you know, because why would the British sympathize for some niggas on the accountability of their cousins, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So they ain't gonna say you need to stop killing those niggas. These are two crackers. And they both come from a Protestant background, so they gonna all, you know, but when one came in, you see one submit to the other and get a little more authority from the other. Like, yeah, man, I could be an overseer of these niggas, man. I've been dealing with them first. You know, we were the first settlers here. To give you a good example of what the fucking Afrikaner is, look at the comic book series that was produced by BET called Black Panther. Anybody remember that? They had old boy who played in Blood Diamond be the voice for Black Panther. If anybody don't know the background, Black Panther is the first Marvel comic book character. He comes from a country named Wakanda. Wakanda is technically the most evolved country in the world. Their technology is out the world. Not only do they have technology, but they have all the cures to the world medicines. And they also have vibranium, a rare element. This is the same element that is used in Captain America's shield, right? The first invader wanting vibranium is an evil villain by the name of the Claw. He's a Belgium assassin. Go look this shit up. When you look at the series, and he knew and Uganda is the only African nation that has remained independent and don't allow they don't talk to no foreigners. They have an in-house policy. They don't nobody know nothing about Wakanda like we don't know nothing about North Korea, like that type of shit, right? When the Claw invades Wakanda, the first motherfucker he goes to is the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church say, we've been wanting to know the secrets of your Wakanda for centuries. They bring the whole white cologne, basically it's the same shit in history, they just changed the name. Watch that shit. And the BET put that shit on there. Black Panther. But watch that shit, and when you see the Claw speaking, the Claw gonna tell you about the Claw killed the first Black Panther. The Black Panther comes from a patriarchal society that is passed down from father to son or uncle to nephew, and they basically they eat a special plant, and this plant comes from the Wakanda area and gives them the senses of everything. Them niggas is the nigga Black Panther whooped Captain America's ass, basically, put it like that. He that cold. But what's cold is when you watch the series, watch how the Claw had to assassinate the motherfucking Black Panther. I got this shit on my presentation, just hold on. But when he comes in there, they all asking this king questions. Oh, how's the technology? How's the cure? And he talking to them like children. He tell the white cracker, nigga, you can't call me by my surname. Oh, I'm sorry, king. They had to lure this African out of Africa under the guise of a UN council in Switzerland in the ice slopes. The Claw, I'm not bullshitting y'all. The Claw had 6 months to get this assassination attempt together. The nigga hid under the floor for 2 days, y'all. They that thorough in this comic book. Comic books is cold, right? He come out, he killed the Black Panther's father in front of him. And the claw got his name because the king, when he seen his father get killed, his father fucked his face up real bad, fucked the cracker face up, deformed him. And the Black Panther fucked him off, the little young boy. But I'm going to stop talking. Let y'all get into this. But I'm going to pull a clip up. I want y'all to hear this shit.
Brother Minkaran, you know, I definitely marry your mind. You're a human encyclopedia of the finest level.
Okay.
Yeah, I know exactly what he's talking about. The Black Panther's a Zulu.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and his wife is Storm. And his wife is Storm. You feel me?
Yeah.
It shows the relationship, you know, and when Brother Minkaran brings up, and Brother Bourne and Brother Little brings up the relationship or how the Jews helped the formation of the Reformation period. You know, they brought that on because they're getting back at Ferdinand II and Isabella, who, you know, in 1478 declared war on their ass. You know, that was the start of the Inquisition. You know, it's in full swing by 1492 when, as we know, Christopher Colon's poles that set sail. So you can see the timeline Brother Little brought up, the early 1500s. And then looking up Calvinism, I came across some information which I had never heard of before, but I'm glad I know of it now, the French Wars, which took place in the late 1500s. And it was between Calvinistic French and the French Catholic. And the wealthy families that belong to both really, you know, being the players in the chess game, moving the pieces.
Yeah, the kings and the pope.
Ashe.
And then on top of that, to tie that in, you know, I mean, that's what the French Wars, right, got popped off. Napoleon was starting the Revolutionary Wars. See? And then they got Napoleon popped off, and that's how you got Waterloo. See what I mean? The Battle of Waterloo was the end of a 23-year war between the crackers. See? To this very day, that's how it's still going down. And if we fail to realize the politics of the cracker and their dynamics, most of the shit ain't got nothing to do with you. It's in-house squabbling. 80% of the time. They try to protect their kingdom from one another. That's all it is. So in order to win favor with the public, you got to do this. In order to win favor with the public, I got to do that because this motherfucker Bush was doing this. This cracker over here was doing that. That's all it is.
And the best example of that is look at Napoleon's rise to power. I got a good history lesson on Napoleon from a white Mason. They thought, see, there's a connection between George Washington and Napoleon. See, they learned from the mistakes of Napoleon. See, Napoleon, they thought they was going to use Napoleon to create the Masons created the French Revolution. They cite that as their first successful coup d'etat, if you will, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they were to successfully create that division factor. And in France, the French Revolution started off, you was either rich or you was dirt poor. See what I'm saying? They brought that shit into being. They unified the poor and gave them the political agenda for overthrowing the rich, and they pushed everything into being and put Napoleon in power. Except when Napoleon got into power, that nigga said, fuck y'all, nigga, French is for the French. and changed his name to the motherfucking emperor. Now look, now what's funny is, if to prove my point, why you think they exiled that nigga at first? You only exile a nigga you got connections with, right? I can't kill him because if I kill him, I'm a martyr him.
Yeah.
But I got love for him because the nigga did do the job, but he just got out of pocket. He got unruly. So I exiled the nigga at first. Then the second time, when he came back to power, what happened? The nigga just came up missing.
You had to clean him up then. I'll say.
Now, let me give you a backdrop on Napoleon bitch ass, right? The little corporal was his name, right? Born August 15, 1769. The happy day of his death was May 5th, 1821, on St. Helena Island in exile, like the brother has said. French general. You right? All right. He revolutionized, one of the most celebrated personages in the history of the West. Why? He revolutionized military organization and training. Didn't Shaka do that? Sponsored by the Napoleonic Code, the prototype of later civil law codes, reorganized education and established the long-lived concordant with the papacy. You know what I mean? See, just that route right there, and with the brief just overview of Shaka, you see how he took Shaka shit. You know what I mean? The Napoleonic codes and the laws and shit like that. Where the Queen went over how Shaka, only way you could have a wife, you had to be the top of the Black Shield. You had to be the elite guard. Huh? See? Because all laws is military. Everything is military. See? Napoleon was the emperor. I mean, whatever he say was fucking law. Wasn't Shaka like that? Didn't Shaka say whoever Shaka give life and take life? See? Reorganize education and establish long-lived, see? You know what I mean? So, anyway, just a little brief history on what the brother, the back of what the brother was talking about. You know what I mean? And that's why Napoleon was created for the cracker. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I'm going to say, the Battle of Waterloo, June 18, 1815, Napoleon's final defeat, ending 23 years of recurrent warfare between France and other powers of Europe. What's the other powers? Well, Mikarai had talked about earlier. Families. What other families of Europe? Powers. Huh? Ain't no fucking aliens. Ain't talking about no rocks. You know what I'm saying? And once you know the powers of Europe, you know who running this shit to this very day. Ain't nothing changed. It's bloodline. That's it. Their job is to keep the bloodline going. That's what this shit means. You know what I'm saying? That's why you got to get to the origins, man. That's why you got to get to the origins. So that's why, we overviewing what we overviewing, giving y'all the origins of shit. You know what I'm saying? The origins of shit. Now, I ain't going to force feed it all to you now. You're going to have to get your own diet of it now. But at least you know where to go eat from the buffet at. Right? You know where to order your food at. Like power.
Like power.
So don't ever until just we proving that the crackers are going at their neck. You know what I mean? We proving that the crackers go at their neck. So don't ever act like crackers just get along and it be all fine to dandy now.
Mhm. And another key point in the overview of Shaka Zulu in the South Africa, the players in South Africa, and especially Shaka is the, as you were saying, the education, is the reorganization of our education into a more militaristic mind state, seeing that even with what you would call a technological disadvantage, seeing what the Zulu warriors were able to withstand and how they were able to maintain against the superior firepower of the British, of the Boers. Then we have to look at and examine our own situation, see what we're going through, and see if we can take some of those pieces, which I think that we can, and especially pieces of militarizing our children, 6, 7 years old. This is something that has to be done. Looking forward to creating a warrior lineage, and so we have to have people in the mind state of always reproducing with those who have that warrior mind state also. The women have to make sure that the men that they're dealing with are men of character, who are going to be willing to fight and die, who are already willing to fight and die for their nation. You know what I'm saying? Especially having the real to fight and die for family. You find men who are of this character. These are the men that you should reproduce with. Those who are looking forward to bringing something greater to his people. And so this is, to me, that's one of the reasons why it was, just going over that military aspect and just that reorganization. The reasons why we have to go out and clean up some of the other Africans, in order for us to be able to have a true unity amongst the warriors. Some people who are hindrances to the unity have to be cleaned up in the process of unifying. So we've seen that there were necessary cleanups going on, which were characterized inside of the movie on Shaka Zulu as something, as the sister Queen was saying, something that's even more savage, and unjust than anything, but was for the best reason. And the best reason always is the safety of the nation. No one person is greater than the nation. And so that's how Shaka looked at it. More than one tribe greater than the nation that they knew they had to defend.
I say, brother B, that was Shaka. He had the apprenticeship program where he take the 6-year-olds and the babies, they start trading.
Mm-hmm.
Start working on their 10,000 hours.
And Sister Camille, could you read again the quote that you got from Dr. John Henry Clark on what Shaka was saying as he was stabbed? Because those are words that I think that, we can take and try to ingrain in ourselves and in the people, and, how we're going to get through.
My shade, give me 1 hot second.
All right, no problem. And just looking at the Calvinism and this Calvinist, this group of crackers, what I'm saying, will come together to
I want to add too real quick, being with the families that heard the overview, when the Queen reads the Shaka statements, I want you to be able to see if you be able to see his prophecy and how it came true. You can't be a prophet if your shit don't come true.
Black Power. Sorry, family, I had stepped out of my African lair for a minute.
Okay.
You know, AKA African War Room. But it's the brother, when they walked into his tent, the Great Shaka said to them, you think by killing me you will be king. You will be the bondsman and the slave. Whites are waiting like ants to take over this country. And the second cry, he reminded them that you have called me many things: saint, tyrant, God, and devil. To some extent, I am all of these. To some extent, I'm all of these things. But I am something else to you. I am something else you need to remember. I'm the great hope you have from freedom from the European ruling this country. Last blow, he looked at them with pity and said, oh, what have I done to you, sons of my fathers? And yeah, he's a prophet. That's what happened in the end.
I say.
It don't matter such as that, you know what I mean? I know he was educated under the Twa. You see his magician, his witch doctor. You saw his Twa, his craftsmen that made him the blade, and he knew where to go.
So that relationship, you know what I mean? That African universal relationship, as Brother Nicola was saying, you know, that bond between men who do work of the same type of nature.
Right. I like how they Twa show you the leopard skin. So you familiar with SETI lectures? That should be unfamiliar to you. See? You know what I'm saying? Then this history, I forgot which one. I think probably was Dr. Clark or someone most likely, but talked about how most of the kings, all the rulers had to have the Twa with them. You couldn't rule without the Twa. It's impossible. And that movie shows that. Shows it. You know what I'm saying? Any major decision, who came out, who when Shaka was a kid, who came out to drink his blood? See? So you see the politics right there? That's your politics, black man, black woman. See? That's where they think Riri is special. That's why the cracker think Riri is special. See? And watch 300, the movie 300, right? Who was Leonidas had to get permission for before he went to war? The leopard Riri's. See? And where was they? In the caves. At the top of their bitch. And what Dr. Clark tell us about caveman societal structure, Iceman inheritance and all that, when he's talking about them coming out the ice pots. See? But, you know, that's what I'm saying. See, so when you get the historical backdrop, the cracker can't make the movie without showing you that. He ain't gonna show you 5 hours of it because that ain't pleasing. Just so the editor gonna take out all the meat and potatoes and give it to you. Trust that. Every scene's gonna be meat and potatoes. Just because you don't know what the story's telling you, don't mean there ain't no story at that motherfucker. Trust it. Every scene in every fucking movie must have a story to tell you. Whether it's going to warn you of danger, let you know this is the star character, whatever the fuck. They got to tell you something. How else was you going to know what you're watching? You know what I'm saying? And then now, so when you see leopard skin, all right? Now you see the twa, all right? Now you in the mama land. You're going to be dealing with the crap. See? And they're going to drop nuggets on your ass. You know what I mean? You can't lie. You can't lie to me if you don't tell me that you don't drop the truth. You don't change the truth. That's all a lie means, the alteration of the truth. You altered the truth. That's a lie. And you ain't got no truth in it. It's a motherfucking story. Ain't nothing wrong with a story. Everybody likes a good story here and there. Freddy Krueger, Santa Claus, Jesus, the Bible. Greatest story ever told, right? Motherfuckers love it. Everybody loves a good story. And in the film world, there's only 6 stories you could ever tell. Man versus man. Man versus nature. Huh? Well, what else is it? There's some other shit. Man versus man, man versus nature, man versus goddamn some sci-fi shit. But there's only really limited genres and shit. You think about it. I don't feel like thinking about that bullshit right now. But think about it. There's only so much stories you can tell, and that's it. Everything else got to get flipped. That's it. The wheel's already created. You just got to put D's on them, spinners on them. That's it. But you can't make them 20 inches, make them 30 inches, make them trucker size. But a wheel is a wheel, nigga. Can't be another wheel. Right? Like a chair is a chair. Ain't gonna be no another chair. There's different versions of it. You know what I mean? And variety comes, you see nature. Shit, it's a variety of different birds. It's a goddamn bird, though. So, same shit with the cracker. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, enough gabbing about that. Black Power family, you know what I mean? Fuck all crackers, put them in the trunk. That's right. Drop them up in the house, Negroes.
Black Power. And,
no, we're going to burn them alive. Bury them alive.
I like to read that second cry that he mentioned, Brother Shaka, the great warrior, because I misquoted the last part, According to Dr. Clark, in the second cry, he reminded them that you have called me many things, saint, tyrant, God, and devil. To some extent, I am all of these things, but I am something else you need to remember. I am the greatest hope you have for freedom from European rule this century. Black Power.
Ta-da, there it is.
Well, is there anything else that we would like to add on? I'm enthused by the information that was given out tonight. I was brought back to some things that, people study only in childhood. You hear about the movie came out about Shaka Zulu. That was about all that you got as a youth. So the understanding and the re-understanding of what a Calvinist was is something that I needed to definitely get, which I got tonight. And it's clear to me now that that's where the ISUPK doctrine comes from. Right up out of that they are the same. My brother Maker, I said, it's all Bible. It's all Bible at the end of the day.
Yep, Calvin is Dutch. Let me drop one more dime for the family, man. Right? We're gonna go over to some shit called the Hague. Right? The Hague is the national seat of government in the Netherlands. Right? It's the home of the court and government, although Amsterdam is the official capital, right? The city name recalls the hunting lodge of the Counts of Holland, which is located in the woodland area of Hedge. Count William II built a castle there in 1248, around which several buildings include the Knights Hall, 1280, came to be clustered, and these became the principal residence of the Counts of Holland. These buildings now form the inner courtyard of the old quarter of the city. About 1350, an artificial lake, the Hofinger, was dug just north of the Binnenhof. The Binnenhof is the inner courtyard and still forms one of the many attractions of the city, right? Let me go back to, let me just get into some shit. I just want to say, it's the commercial. Let me get, where's that shit at, man? Here it is. What's the city's business? All right, most of the city's business. All right, there it is. The States General Parliaments meets in the Knights Hall, and the government departments and foreign embassies occupy other buildings in the old quarter of the city. Most of the city's businesses, firms are engaged in trade, banking, insurance, and other services. Several large oil companies also have their international headquarters in the city. The Hague is also a leading center for international conferences. The city's industries including printing and publishing, electronics, food processing, and the production of ceramics, furniture, glass, and various luxury consumer items. All right. And then I just want to point that out. The Hague, man. So the Hague is all that cracker, the Dutch, the lower countries. You see what I'm saying? Frenchies, fucking, that's all of them crackers, man. You know what I mean? That's all it is, man. You know what I'm saying? So
and the Sephardic Jew, as Brother Ben Kara dropped tonight.
Ashe. And that's the new headquarters. All right. They can be Hague, the Hague Convention. It was held there in 1899 and 1907. You know what I'm saying? And all the big wigs meet at the Knights Hall. Remember, we went over that Mason shit earlier this week. So tying all that in, you know what I mean, to tie the shoe up, and and the family should be off and running on this subject. You know what I mean? Just lace the shoes up right there with that. Check at the Hague, the Merovingians, the Franks, the Gauls, and you get into the origins of the motherfucking Peckerwood, the Frenchies, and the Dutch and all that. You know what I mean? And the Romans and all that shit. But anyway, Black Power on that, family.
I found it. Y'all want to hear this shit right here, man?
Hit us with the link in the Hangout too.
Okay. This right here is a clip. This is the claw. He didn't got the French. He didn't got the world's best French assassin on. He like Brother Little was talking about. He got the Juggernaut. The Juggernaut is an American. He represents the dumb brute strength of America. And they like, what's up? And they walking in African savannah, and they like, my nigga, tell me about this Black Panther, nigga. Tell me about your operation. Why you so obsessed with this shit? And he finna give you this. He gonna tell you the history he got with the first Black Panther. Pick this shit out. He's a Dutch Calvinist. Brother, before you go there, remember now, one of the groups that was down with Calvinism in the French wars of religion were called the Huguenots. Now, if we put the J, because remember, it wasn't no J then, we got the same name, kind of, don't we? Black Power.
Black Power. Damn. Booyah.
So here we go, right here. Here we go.
How's it going in there, Igor? The toilet is backing up again.
That's the Russian.
We can't send someone in to fix it now. Radiation levels are too high. God, you got that tech to spare. It stinks in here. Now the Russians are hygienical.
What the fuck?
Just shove another bottle of vodka in there. Ha! Juggernaut, Igor is a key part of our plan. So shut up. Cool. I'll see what I can do, Igor. The claw. I have to express my admiration for your operation. But I've studied our target. Realistically, what are our chances of killing the Black Panther?
Chances? Pretty good. Considering I've already killed one. The conference some years ago.
Hold on.
An annual meeting of the world's top economic powers.
He said Bilderberg Council in Switzerland. Y'all heard that?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Switzerland. Amsterdam. Netherlands.
Switzerland.
The Bilderberg Conference some years ago. An annual meeting of the world's top economic powers. The kind of get-together that gives conspiracy theorists palpitations. I was there to kill a man.
On a job?
I was hired, yes. But it was also personal. I knew this job would make my reputation internationally. Plenty of potential employers there. Third world countries aren't normally invited to real meetings like this. That's what the UN is for. A place for the powerless to whine about the white man. But they invited Wakanda to the big boys' table because everyone wanted a crack at their resources. Untouched petroleum deposits, medical cures unknown in the Western world, and vibranium, the rarest, most valuable mineral on Earth. Your Majesty, we'll pay whatever price you set for your goods.
They are not for sale until the spiritual advancement of the West catches up to their technological prowess. It would be irresponsible to share our scientific discoveries with you.
Are you calling everyone here irresponsible children?
No. More like sullen teenagers who feel more mature than their behavior warrants. The fact that every conversation here is framed in terms of profit and power says it all. You could have made half these breakthroughs yourself. But there's too much money to be made in misery. Why cure a disease when people pay for medicine? Why provide cheap energy?
Yeah, we get the point, T'Chaka. I've never met a socialist with a crown on his head before, but I guess there is a first time for everything.
Who gave you permission to use my first name?
I am sorry. I did not mean to offend.
I understand your frustration in dealing with a black man who can't be bought with a truck full of guns, a plane full of blondes, and a Swiss bank account. But please, hold on to what little class you have.
Your Majesty, I truly apologize.
This meeting is over.
Once it was clear there was no deal to be made, my job kicked in.
With his kids.
This was not an easy gig. A month before the conference, they shut the hotel down for security purposes. Laid off any employee that had worked there less than a year.
Why do we have to leave immediately, Father? You said we could go skiing.
Now, this is why we have to leave. The children grow more insolent with each breath of European air.
I knew the glass was bulletproof, but that didn't worry me. The armor-piercing shell would blow right through that. What I didn't know was that his security had applied a micron-thin layer of vibranium over the glass. It absorbed the boring vibrations enough to stop the shot. We had seconds to recover before we lost the window of opportunity entirely. Time for Plan B. I had been waiting beneath the floorboards for a week. I was getting $10 million to kill someone I'd do for free. There was no way I would fail. Obviously, the point of an entrance like that is to create as much chaos as possible to keep an edge against an opponent this dangerous. I got lucky right off the bat. When that piece of debris took out the second in line to the throne, it really distracted the Panther. Killing the entire family wasn't part of the commission, but throwing in those little extras can really endear you to an employer. Then came the most dangerous moment. Right before the kill, when both sides are vulnerable. He was so fast I wasn't sure if those extra seconds I bought would be enough. I don't know where the claws came from. In his robes? I thought he only had them in his panther gear. Anyway, he was slashing my face, and I was about to lose an eye. He had blocked one gun, but the other one was right in position. Mission completed. Now the trick was to stay alive. I had the option of really cleaning up this situation. The kid shot me with my own gun. Can you believe it? I knew I had to get out of there before defeat was snatched from the jaws of victory. The kid was a good enough shot to make jumping out of a 7th-floor window the better option. Especially when you've got a...
Y'all heard that? When his daddy got killed, he picked up the gun. This is a fucking comic book, y'all. But it's used on real African events. He said he picked up the gun and started busting on it. The kid was such a good shot, he made jumping out a 7-story window a better option. So, yeah, y'all need to check this shit out because he got America, he got the Russian bringing radiation, the French bringing his espionage, he got the Dutch Afrikaner. Then he brings the motherfucking church in, and when the church comes in, let me see if I can find this shit. This shit's funny as a motherfucker. He said he always needed to bring salvation to Africa.
Yeah. But then you had the Calvinists who came in. Remember during the point in time when they showed them just coming in and they was telling them to leave, and one minute they tried to shoot the cannon off at them.
Did y'all hear how he was putting that cracker in his place? Who said you can call me by my first name? He said, oh, T'Challa. I've never seen a socialist with a crown on before. See, they don't understand African politics. Never have and never will. As Chester Williams put in Destruction of Black Civilization, we had a system that had it had the 3 elements. It had a monarchy, it had socialism, and it had democracy, all wrapped up into one before the 3 words even came out, before the 3 words were even invented. That's Williams said he was studying abroad before his eyes went bad. Even though he charted over 150 different languages, he said that he noted that there was a uniformity in terms of how government that ran a form what Europeans would call primitive democracy before the word even came out. And Dr. Clark took that and really went in on it in terms of defining it in that African mind. You know what I'm saying? But
chances of killing the black man.
I'm trying to find this scene right here, play that shit again. Because that's speaking to the state of America right now. Y'all could have came to the same conclusions, but it's too much money to be made off misery. You know what I'm saying? That's the Europeans' perspective on anything. That's why they'll never be able to produce a dynasty.
Third world countries aren't normally invited to real meetings like this. That's what the UN is for. A place for the powerless to whine about the white man. But they invited Wakanda to the big boys' table because everyone wanted a crack at their resources. Untouched petroleum deposits, medical cures unknown in the Western world, and vibranium, the rarest, most valuable mineral on Earth. Your Majesty, we'll pay whatever price you set for your goods.
They are not for sale. Until the spiritual advancement of the West catches up to the technological prowess, it would be irresponsible to share our scientific discoveries with you.
Are you calling everyone here irresponsible children?
No. Or like sullen teenagers who feel more mature than their behavior warrants. The fact that every conversation here is framed in terms of profit and power says it all. You could have made half these breakthroughs yourself. But there's too much money to be made in misery. Why cure a disease when people pay for medicine? Why provide cheap energy?
Yeah, we get the point, T'Chaka. I've never met a socialist with a crown on his head before, but I guess there is a first time for everything.
Who gave you permission to use my first name?
I am sorry. I did not mean to offend.
I understand your frustration in dealing with a black man who can't be bought with a truck full of guns, a plane full of blondes, and a Swiss bank account. But please, hold on to what little class you have.
Your Majesty, I truly apologize.
This meeting is over.
How you deal with crackers? You heard that? They even pointed out that black man who can't be bought with a Swiss bank account, a plane full of blondes. You heard that?
Black power.
And a whole bunch of guns. Yeah.
And one thing about, you're saying the Black Panther, one thing about the Panther is that he didn't just become the Panther. This was something that was earned through your skill level. It wasn't like you just became that. That wasn't passed down, even though it was in the mannerism. But it was
you had to fight for it.
Yeah,
and if you got your ass whooped, whoever beats you became the Panther.
It's more than just something where you just automatically became it. You didn't just automatically get it.
See, that's African right there. What only thing that's gonna take out another lion is what? A lion is another lion. I'm sorry. I already answered my own damn question. There you go. You know what I mean? That's the only threat. The only threat for the black man is another black man. Other than that, ain't no threat. Nowhere. They just pray ready to be slaved, man. And what the lions do? Gotta follow the buffalo. Gotta know what the buffalo doing. You gotta watch your food now. You gotta know. Listen, you gotta know what your food like and don't like. That's how you set the trap and hunt for them. You can wait right there. I know they coming to this bush. They love this shit. And I'm gonna wait right here. Right up when. They ain't gonna smell me. They ain't gonna know nothing. See? You gotta know these things. You know what I'm saying? Stay close to the buffalo. Black power. Only if you're gonna kill the motherfucker, though. Not if you're gonna be licking on the nigga, man. Fuck around and get your ass poked with one of them horns, though. That's all we was doing today, man. Shaka style, man. Following the buffalo, man. That's what the leopard do. The leopard follow the buffalo, man. Follow the prey.
Yep, single them out, then knock them off.
And that's how you form that new
horn. Yeah,
exactly.
That buffalo horn, strong in the middle, flank on the side, and then keep a little bit in the body, holding on, waiting to, just on the weight up, just in case you need them to come on in. An interesting thing that I seen about that was that he had the warriors who was waiting not be looking at the battle, so they wouldn't just get antsy and jump into it, but would only come into the fray only on command. So you know how it is. You see your people that look like they losing, you might want to jump in early.
Yeah, that discipline. But see, Shaka showed he had to be a skilled hunter to know about your prey, about the buffalo. You saw all the buffalo horns up there and shit. You know what I mean? They didn't get there with no cracker rifle now. You know, you saw what they had to do to become a man. They had to go in the jungle. What Dr. Clark say? For 3 days. It was a 3 days journey. Shaka came back in 6. Meaning he found his shit on the first day.
And in terms of fighting being African, Dr. Clark shares how when his mother went back to her people, and Shaka was growing into early manhood, you know, she's seeking friends for him, and when he refused to fight, she tells him and explains to him that there is no other way to survive except for fighting.
I say, not only that, Shaka had opponents. He said Swazi's right. Swazi's was a very formidable opponent for him, right? See? So they learned how to fight somehow.
Come looking out.
What? Somebody thought I was speaking and it broke up.
Yeah, I heard that too.
And, you know, well, until they come back, just want to remind the family that Shaka's mother's group that she came from, the Mtawas, were a powerful group within themselves, and I'm going to say in terms of warfare, because the Zulus were, for lack of a better word, a colony of theirs. You know, ruled by a king by the name of Joe Bay. So, you know, that just shows that he came from a bloodline of fighters on both sides.
It was just made warrior. Made to fight.
Yeah, she's a very interesting person as well. She deserves some studying and her due respect as well, man. The great elephant.
Ashe. I mean, she helped establish a friendship between her son and the son of the King Jobe. Denisaweo. And that's Denisaweo who came back after watching the Cracker Beast, saw how they ran in a straight line. You know, when they was battling each other, which made them easy to attack, to hit, and came up with the concept of the broken field running formation, which is still used today.
Yeah. Nah, you know, listen,
or Nganda, the strongman leader Ubuntu, would certainly take advantage of any opportunity to overthrow the Wakandan government.
Blah! We're about to launch our invasion.
Yeah,
The
you're
Niganda
going to
army.
definitely have to go over the whole, that's just the progression. We're moving to south, we're moving to the eastern, the lower eastern half of Africa. We've taken time going over the northern eastern in depth. Hopefully by now everybody has a thorough not a thorough understanding, but a very in-depth understanding of northern East Africa, or let's say the Nile Valley. So it's only natural to look into the southern eastern part and the migration patterns of Africans all the way over into the western half of Africa. And do get that, and if you can go on YouTube, you can get that video, the Black Panther. I got it for my children, and as Brother Mikara and Brother Little were expressing, it's an excellent cartoon, and one thing that it does give, it just gives that African spirit of strength, know-how, shows the African being just ingenious, and it shows us the reasons for being separation, understanding of, that you don't have to be uncompromising, even in situations where it seems like you might need to call on others, that you could accomplish your will through your own people and through your own know-how and wit. You know what I mean? So I definitely recommend it for anybody who just anybody with children, especially anybody wants just to get a little grasp of African politics and the mannerism that we should be dealing with these beasts. The interesting thing about the Panther inside the comic book world, though, is that he's the reason Tony Stark has any power, because he gave him the medal for his not only did he supply Captain America his shield, but supplied Tony Stark with the medal for his Iron Man suit.
Mm-hmm. They play nice. They will crack a zoo. They'll come and do anything to get that shit. And once they get it,
everything's wrong.
And then he said, see, the word went around the street, and the cracker was like, shit, I need to go over here and go get my shit there.
Mm-hmm.
You see? And then here come the Dutch, here come the Calvinists. See, all up in Zulu land, landed in Port Natal. With their greedy, fucking, dirty, diseased, filthy, fucking cracker beast paws out. They don't got hands, they got paws. And claws. You know what I mean? See? With their claws out. What's that nigga called, Big Rod? Claw? See? And ain't Black Panther Stan Lee, Big Rod?
Yeah, that's Marvel. Yeah, that's a Marvel comic.
That's Marvel, right? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
One of the few truths that was in the TV series that I appreciated was showing how the religions of perversion, Christianity, was foreign to our people, and that Shaka turned and flipped it on.
Yeah. You didn't see a whole bunch of Cracker Beast crosses up and shit. Again, I like how the shaman was in the shaman always had influence. They never, I think, was it the name? I don't think that was the nameless one, but they have a name that show you too, like the power of the Twa they didn't name the elder. They said, man, we don't listen. That's the nameless one. You know what I'm saying? We don't know. That motherfucker been here since we been here, nigga, and before. You know what I'm saying? And you see how old the shaman was? You don't get that old, but nigga, she wasn't no regular age like that. That's some old. That's where the Bible gets them astronomical ages from. Black power.
Black power.
How the fuck you get the power to put another nigga's spirit in a blade? That, listen, man. The nameless one. So we go around dropping names on shit. That's what showed me. Like, see?
Like trap them in the paradigm, dropping the name on them. But one of the things that you just said about that age is that I was reading where they were saying that a lot of Africans, when they were bringing them over who were getting captured, that they were already well over 70 years old, 80 years old. But because the Caucasian was aged so quickly, that he was looking at these Africans and thinking that they were, 30, 25, 30 years old. Because that's how physically fit they were at their age. I'll have to find that information so I can hit everybody with it.
I mean, I say, yeah, you got to watch that because you see the elders, like the prime minister. What my brother name? Ngome. And Ngome was old as fuck. But not the Ngome, the one that Shaka Killed became. Not the one that Shaka Killed. What was his name? The one Shaka Killed when he came to the throne.
Yeah.
That old brother right there, he couldn't even match the nameless one. She was
look at where we can just look right into Zimbabwe and look at Mugabe. 89. Look at him. He's 89 years old. We can look at the elder and see he's 89 years old, back straight. I don't know if he's using just for men or not.
Word.
I don't know if he's using just for men or not, but he got a little orange on it, so it looks like it might be gray a little bit, but it ain't going all the way. I don't know, but he's definitely still looking General Sharp at 89.
And still got multiple wives he's taking care of. You feel me?
Yeah, still getting this thing in action. So you can see that. We can see that in modern time. We can just see that for our own selves. Look at Cicely Tyson.
Okay.
Mr. Pittman, man.
Look at Cicely Tyson, man. Shit.
That's the greatest film she played in ever to me, man. Mr. Pittman, what?
Dr. Clark speaks of an ancestor by the name of Memboza. Memboza was picked to be Shaka's warlord after his first one had bounced for 15,000 men, after they had got permission from the elders. And Dr. Clark said he seen a picture of him at 74, and that he was frightened. Okay? That's how deep he looked. No gray hairs, no wrinkles, no nothing.
Look at the elder we just looked at him, 71 years old. Now, we seen him after he was beaten up. Now, when you go look at some of his pictures at 70 years old, that brother, and he got dreads, and dreads not the type of thing you can just color over and over. His dreads ain't even all the way gray at 70 years. He still got a lot of black up in there, and he's still looking fit, physically. He's still looking fit. He might have scared some niggas. You see him standing out there.
Well, brother, Daruba, his body's still built at 71, right?
Yeah, at 71, where he could be intimidating. At 70 where he was, he could intimidate a young 30-year-old lion.
Well, they had to jump him. I mean, come on.
Yeah, he could intimidate a damn 30-year-old, 40-year-old. He could be intimidating. Because the other brother was with Kalanji, but that's so big. Someone like they just be shook.
That's the type of nigga you remember how you hold a nigga on top of the head and they be swinging.
Mm-hmm. You know,
not to laugh at my brother, you know what I mean. Yeah, man, so that Zulu shit is real, man. Paula Shaka, set the tone, set the bridge, if you will, for this cracker to get over on motherfuckers, man. You know what I mean? That was the end of the deal right there. End of the deal right there. Like Shaka said, like the Prophet Honorable Shaka motherfucking said, man. God damn, Christians, you can't even worship a true prophet like Shaka? Damn. That's what I want, I think Shaka and Zulu shit, and that's the spirit we need to be up on, you know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Sure. Yeah. It's war mode, man. You know it's war time. So we gotta go to our war. It's just utilizing the re-strategizing on how we're going to do this shit. So this is the reason why we got to go back and look at this, these war stories of our winners. Stories of triumph, and also the stories of loss to see what we should not do and what we should be doing.
Shit. And just to put the spirit of aggression out there, put that lion spirit out there, Oh man, sound like the police is on, man.
Yeah, something going on, man. We got like several different conversations in one. What's that? We got that going on while in the background.
Is that a movie? That brother there.
Yeah, I don't know who that is. Right time. We'll be closing out in a little bit, but damn, we don't want to have you close us out with that shit.
Oh, wow.
I got it.
Shoot through my concentration off.
Oh, shit.
All right, call it a day. I don't know. That's when our regular callers, they must have threw their line off of mute. And I don't know where they at, but something going on in the background. And motherfucker.
And to show that it is traditional for African men to uphold or to revere their women, and African women to revere their men. The Swazi group that Shaka faced as he was moving further south, and the only group that he, declared a stalemate and spared them. I mean, if he wanted to get open on them, it wasn't going to be a problem. But their technique was ambush, and they were more of a pestilence. And because they were unrelenting, he kind of he respected that. But I bring that up to say that the Swazi had a woman ruler. So again, it goes to show that these two existences, a patriarchal society and a matrilineal one, could coexist because they both had that same component of having respect for the African woman.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure. They still coexist to today. Up until today, you can see the Swazi and Zulu still do ceremonial type of things together on a regular.
It's like how Micah broke down earlier. They label it matrilineal and patriarchal because they don't see the whole picture. They don't operate on the whole body. They work on individual parts.
Mm. Sure.
So that show you right there. They ain't capable of putting together the pieces of the puzzle. They gonna get your ass to put together the pieces of the puzzle for them.
Now, one thing that I did find interesting, I'm having to look into how many different languages are labeled Bantu. So,
did you say Bantu?
Yeah, Bantu.
Oh, Bantu. Okay.
Yeah, or how many different groups are labeled as Bantu people? Because it's a language, but it's used as an ethnicity, like in something like that. It seems to me like they use it like a nationality or something, but it's actually a language, like how they say, the Hebrew people, even though that's a language, they make it a people also.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't thought about it. Interesting.
I heard Brother Mekaran bring that point up about the Bantu speaking people before, but I just really want to check and see exactly how many tribes are labeled Bantu or Bantu speaking, because this is how a lot of what we call Melanesia had to be translated to this language.
Man, listen, a nigga done told me today that goddamn the Metanetta was broke down and read. It had the motherfucking Rothschild name in it. You see? Yeah, ask my brother, hey, Rue, he could co-sign.
Hold up. At the Rothschilds, what?
They got their name in it. The nigga they deciphered the Metanetta, right? Nigga, the Rothschild name was in it.
Rothschild.
Yeah, but the same dude that said that also claimed that he's a Dravidian and that he's a descendant of Vladimir the Impaler, and that they stole his name and his lineage, and he's gonna go and try to sue. What do you say? He gonna sue the Brits and the royal families for using his name.
Hold up, man.
And the only thing I can do. Hold on. The only thing I can do is look at the brother And in my mind, I'm saying to myself, and I had some way out conversations with people today, too, is that if you believe this shit, I can't argue with you on your belief. But I can see how fucking crazy you are tracing an identity to make yourself feel like you exist in the world that's outside of Africa. And that's the point where you need to heal yourself. That's the only thing I can say to myself if you kept talking to me, because at some point in time, you lost your mind.
Damn.
The old man got pissed off at me today because fucking I didn't believe in the 12 tribes of Israel, and I told him Jesus is a created creature that doesn't exist. He got pissed off at me and said, "This is the end of my conversation with you," and rolled off. I just looked at him wild, yo. But before that, he gonna tell me, he say, why don't y'all get the gangbangers to stop begging on each other and just embrace Black Power? I told him, if you look around you, it's already happening. What do you think all this is for? But I said, you got to realize something. It's something bigger that got us against each other, bigger than gangbanging. It's called religion. The religion has took more lives than gangbanging has ever done within the history of its origin. And I said, all to the fact that people need to identify themselves, because they need some type of identity, because we've been lost and had our memories erased of who we are. So now it's easily for you to get caught up in trying to find yourself somehow. So you got to fix that first. He got pissed off. And, I told him, before you entered the conversation with me, I told you, you have belief and I don't. I said, I'm not going to argue with you, your belief. You believe what you want to believe. That don't make it true.
That's right. Well, yeah, I mean, we I like to say before we close out, I like to get a tally from the family on the conversation tonight. Feel a lot of family in here listening in. Right? Give me a thing game. So, before we close out, if you'd like to lay a couple words in before we leave.
Yeah. Let me give us tomorrow. You know what I mean? 12 o'clock, Pasadena, Cali. You know what I mean? To keep the line centered. I'll try to get the address for you in a second. You know what I'm saying? Brother Seti. You know what I mean? So come on through. It's going to be a nice little powerful presentation for you. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be $10 off the door. You know what I mean? And bring some extra loot, get some nice little T-shirts and shit. You know what I'm saying? And watch the general get it in, man. You about to do some new. That brand new shit, that is.
Right. Brother Raheru, you want to get it in before we leave out?
First of all, I want to give a Black Power salute to the General Seti, Brother Tianki, Brother Colleen Reed from Kinetic Clothing, and the whole KMT clothing staff that was out there today. We want to thank all the family for coming out and supporting the General today in Lamar Port. I want to give a shout out to the Black Liberation Riders for showing up and turning out in Lamar Park today, and everybody that came out and kept it all gauzy in support of us being family first, being race first, being African first, and putting all the differences and ideologies aside, and to be able to kick off a real BPC weekend without filling it up full of entertainment and bug dancing and filling a venue up full of enemies and agents and saying that we're family. To just some pure, just African
Peckers, big fucking peckers, big fucking peckers in your Cuda, big fucking peckers.
Stupid ass Tamahu, get the fuck up out of here. This is a no Tamahu zone. We ain't got no time for your dumb ass cracker rants.
I got him here, bro.
Go ahead. That shit.
I got him here, bro. Go ahead. And I got him. He's out of there. Go ahead, bro.
Anyway, family had a good time. Look forward for part 2, getting it in, holding down the family, holding down the front line, making sure family is safe and that everything pops off in the true African way. When a soldier general stands up and comes into town, a true soldier joins in formation and protects the general. That's going to be my final words. It's all black love, black power. I enjoyed myself and tired, so I'm going to try to get some rest, family.
Black power, yo, real quick on that address, it's at 1435 North Raymond Ave.
Nigger.
103. Shut your ass up. Listen here, punk ass cracker. Show up to this event tomorrow so I can whoop your ass at 1435 North Raymond Avenue, 9113, Pasadena, California, motherfucker. 1435 North Raymond Ave, 91103, Pasadena, California, motherfucker. Black power.
Black power.
Black power.
Please come get some, cracker, please.
You know, the freaks come out, you know what I'm saying, and later again on Saturday, you know what I mean?
Oh, hey, it's no fly zone, but I want him to see if he can fly around this zone.
No. Sister Camille, you want to go ahead and get your clothes out and have Brother Nick around and our clothes out and ready to get on up out of here for tonight.
I was going to share something that Dr. Clark expressed about the assessment of our men, but with the cracker beasts on the line, I'll save that for another time. I'd just like to share where Dr. Clark shows that Shaka in his best years, he was able to accomplish his mission, and that was to hold the cracker beasts to the coast, to not let them come inland. The cracker beasts could not come inland without Shaka's permission. And when certain Zulu ceremonies took place, he did not give them permission at all. Shaka was the master. And had he lived and not been assassinated, according to Dr. Clark's assessment, there would have been no Boers, no cracker beasts, filthy Dutch, or British to form what is known as the South African situation, because there would have been none. Shaka would have not allowed it, and they would have been controlled by Africans as they were during Shaka's time. By power.
Black power.
Black power.
Brother Maker.
Oh, family, and I forgot to end with my mantra, as Dr. Clark has preached that we should have: death to all savage cracker beasts and death to this racist cracker beast society. Black power be before the end.
Black power be before the end. I'm about to make around like this little situation right now. But also our clothes on out. So you know to come on out on Tuesday. Come see us on Tuesday. We'll be here 10 p.m. doing news, and more news. Wonderful show. Thanks to the family. I'd like to really give a deep respect to Brother Little for making around such a committee for the valuable information to give it to our listeners tonight. Something that is sorely needed, and we will keep the continuity of rhetoric here strong. We make sure that we put this rhetoric out properly, have proper reassessment of history, placing it in the African perspective. So we definitely thank everybody for coming out. This has been Slaughterhouse Saturday. Just assessed Shaka, Zulu, the history of the Zulus in a minor piece. And we will go in on some of the other groups that comprise the Confederation, now known as the Zulus, or put together as the Zulus up under Shaka Zulu that still exists up to today. So with that being said, thank y'all again for coming out on Slaughterhouse Saturday. We'd like to end out like we come in with the praises to the ancestors, which is praise Nat Turner. Glory to God, be long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. Praise Harriet Tubman. Glory to Ida B. Wells, and long live the spirit of Sister Fannie Lou Hamer of B. Volier.
Cracker in the trunk.
2 crackers in the trunk.